this movie has slimy producers trying to exploit the success of the first one written all over it.
Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Mission Impossible. What's Emilio Estevez's character's name?
Fuck you. His name is
No,
Fuck You,
he's dead
Dave. That's what his fucking name is.
Not even memorable enough for you to remember what they're called.
Honestly, go fuck yourself.
And I can't help that Woody wrote Andy a note in Toy Story 3. If I got a note that said, "Hey Jeff," and it turned out that it was that is literally the premise for Chucky.
Hey there, film fans. I am Jeff.
I'm Dave.
I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we will challenge one another to discuss movies both new and old with a strictly positive, critical eye. Jeff, your beer sucks.
That's a beer spider, Jeff. That's
to
a beer
avoid
float.
to avoid any lazy negativity, we are making this a drinking game.
Ooh, yes, we
drinking
are.
game.
Any negative criticism about a film is absolutely allowed and perhaps expected today. But
Yeah.
doesn't matter, because if you say something negative, you're going to hear this sound. That means you said something negative or stupid, and you got to drink, people.
Drink.
Happy
The way I
Tuesday.
drink
Pour yourselves a
beer.
glass,
That
get a
lull
coffee,
sound.
depending on what time of it is in the world, where you are, and join us as we give it up for, well, this dumpster fire of a year, 2020. We're throwing
God
back.
damn it.
Look, people,
Guys,
we're
we
gonna-
have two guests.
We have two
we are
guests.
live on Facebook.
I forgot they were
and
there.
Twitch.
Sorry.
We have
Yeah.
tons of people here. So sorry, we're getting really excited here. We're going to keep it together. But as John said, we do have some guests in the house who we are going to introduce. Then we're going to get
They're
to
in
Wonder
a
Woman,
house.
and then we're going to break down our year. Oh my gosh, John, intros. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
All right. First of up, okay. You might remember him from, I believe it was our 25th episode, the films of 1982, The Verdict, The Thing, and Grease 2. His name is Jack
Grease
Daniel.
2. Grease 2, my
Oh,
favorite
Grease
movie.
2
Oh.
of all fucking
Oh, my
time.
God.
He's out of Charlotte, K104.7. Welcome back, Jack. What the fuck?
It's
I'm
a
sorry we had to
pleasure.
talk about Grease 2. I'm so excited that you're back with
Oh,
us.
no.
That
Remember, I
was-
had the
it's-
picture. I had the picture behind me the whole time.
Quite funny.
Yeah.
Just while we're on the subject, do you want to hear what Jack thought of Grease 2?
Yeah.
Look, while
why don't
we're
we just
throwing
hit
back,
it?
this was Jack talking about Grease 2.
And I went,
Yeah.
trying to redeem this movie is kind of like raising the Titanic, which we know is in pieces on the ocean floor. And I just don't think they're going to get that up, and I don't think we can get this up.
And after watching this movie, I couldn't get it up either.
I was pretty harsh, wasn't I?
No,
Not at all, not
no,
at
you
all.
weren't. Oh, dear.
God, it sucked.
That's Jack. That's Jack. Jack is here with us. I'm excited. We're going to do this all night. And we also have our other guest. You will remember him from our special, our Halloween special, which was episode, what was that, you guys? 35. It was the Halloween Live. We had several guests on, one of which was
Yep.
Ryan, motherfucking
Hi.
Wilson out of Japan. Welcome back, dude.
Hi, it's again 9:30 in the morning, and
Jesus
here we go.
Christ almighty.
Now,
We
I
are going to
have-
make him drink.
I have a bone to pick with all of you. I love
Uh-huh.
Grease too. It's one of my
Oh,
Oh, right.
life goals.
come at me, dude. Come
That's-
on,
that's
come
for
on.
lying.
Come at us.
It is
Oh,
one of my
God.
life goals to put that like professionally on stage.
Why would you want to hurt people?
Because that's what life's about.
Well, if you don't invite us to the opening of that production, I don't care where it is on earth. I'm going to be I won't heckle. I won't be the old guy in the Muppets. I promise. I'll just.
Yeah, please tell us which high school that happens at.
Wow.
What Japanese high school are you going to mount Grease to?
Who am I going to be?
Oh, wow. A lot of kids are getting
we're off to a
disowned.
fun start.
I feel like if it didn't happen in 2020, it's not going to happen ever. So I'll move on to Anna and the Apocalypse, and then we'll be sweet.
There you go. There you go. Oh, he listens to the show.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's
So anyway,
right.
yeah, I think it was. These are the guests. We're excited to do it. Jeff, why don't we do our usual shit, and then we'll get into Wonder Woman after we make our rounds with whatever
That's
what
right,
we've been
people.
watching. News.
We're going to be talking about Wonder Woman. But before we do that, let's send it over to John for some shout outs.
While he's drinking.
As always, yeah,
Perfect
it was
timing.
just my head was like all the way back. We are going to give it up for our beer sponsor. Hopefully not for the last time. I'm going to hold you guys to it. Did you text Carlos Barroso, C Barroso Bar 2019, CBARRZOBAR 2019? Did you text him to get those
No.
fucking beers? Because
No,
I
we
told you he made beers for us. God
Yeah.
damn it, you guys. Seriously, Carlos, if you're listening, thank you for making the beer. These guys are going to pick it up. They have to because you made it for us. It's going to be delicious. And the music you hear on this episode and every fucking episode is provided by the artist Dasein. It's Dasein, Dasein. You can find all that music available for free downloads at soundcloud.com/Dasein-artist. Those are the shout outs for the year, the whole fucking year. We did it, you guys. This is our first year. Let's give it up. Cheers for
Woo!
we finished our first season. This is
Yeah.
the first we did it.
And
Yeah,
thanks
it's
for the
like-
invite. Always a pleasure.
Oh, dude, thank you
But
for
we just
listening.
gotta-
Thank you for coming.
Back in February, Jeff called three of us to a bar and went, "Hey, I want to do this podcast thing," and we're like, "All right, sounds like fun. What are we going to do?" Well, we'll do this great thing about going to the movie. Well, we'll go to the movies and we'll do a positive, like, review of the stuff that's out in the film. And we got 3 shows out, and on the third one we were in the shutdown, and we
We
had
were
to
like-
change up the whole fucking thing. It was
We were driving.
You
our
guys
significant others
responded
crazy.
pretty well. That was a solid pivot onto the franchise.
To the Corona franchise, that was a hard pivot. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
glad we
This,
did
I mean,
that.
it was what was this was episode 3.
So there's something going around called coronavirus.
What?
I don't know if you heard it. Yeah, it's also called COVID-19. So we are doing this remote. In the past, we've all been in the same room, and it's been really fun. We've had a good time making the podcast, but we are separated. So I'm actually in Massachusetts. You two are spread out in New York City, but we're making it happen because the people need their content. Everybody wants to see movies, and we have to make it happen.
Yep, that was the,
episode 3.
That was episode
So-
3.
So my question is, will the podcast ever go back to, like, if say cinemas do open up, will you go back to going to the cinema, or do you feel like it's changed completely and this is what it is now?
It's funny you should say that,
yeah.
Brian, because we're trying to decide what the fuck we want to do. If we want to stay with the structure, if we want to change it up, if we want to go back. I want to believe that, and we're all going to start going to see movies again at some point. But
Yeah.
you're right, dude. Who knows if it's going to change for everyone? You know,
I feel like a hybrid would work. See, I've been on a similar journey as you guys, sort of going back to certain years and going back to films I haven't seen or I
oh
probably
yeah, you
should-
did that whole list, right? You went through like
still going. Still
how
going.
many? How many are you up to?
187 since May 10.
good
Yeah.
for you, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you quarantined like a motherfucker.
I'm lonely
Yeah,
in
well
Tokyo.
Wait, you keep a tally?
yeah.
Jeff, remember he was telling us on Halloween. Explain it again. You have a list of movies that you should
I
have
drank
seen but
so
have never
much on
seen,
Halloween.
right?
Yeah,
I know
so
we were
it was so messed up on that.
before I vomited at the end of the show.
Brilliant. What an experience.
Oh dear.
No, it was just in circles like this when you're talking about movies and you nod along and go, yeah, of course I've seen that. Of course I've seen Godfather. And then inside, I have not seen that film. I have seen Godfather.
Yeah.
So it started out as a list of those films, going back and visiting them while cinemas were shut. And now it's kind of turned into just movies that people think that I should have seen, or things that I go, hey, I love that actor. Let's go back into their canon. But it's like the
your
movies I
it's
should
your
have seen by
friends are-
now.
Your friends are staging an intervention for you. It's like, you should have seen
It's
this. You
great.
should have seen that.
I've seen some terrible films. I usually love every film, and this year I've seen some terrible ones.
Oh, we'll get to that. We can bring.
Yeah,
that
we'll
up.
get to that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
I tend to be very forgiving with films too, except for Grease 2. And, if I like an actor or actress, then I'm really forgiving of a movie that they're in that may not be the greatest. But if I really like the actor, I go in a little biased.
Yeah.
I think we're all like that.
This year has changed that a little bit, but it's meant that I've only seen new films this year, which has been amazing.
Right.
Yeah. So if you've never seen, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I would
basically-
imagine a lot of them were great. But yeah, I'll ask you more questions
lot.
about it later. Because
Let's do it. Let's get into it.
So basically,
Some
yeah,
leading
back
questions.
in February, we decided to put this thing together, and we positively, like, it was all positive criticism. We decided there had to be a penalty, so drinking. I don't know, Ryan, are you on the booze or the coffee this morning?
I'm on both.
Not a boy.
We were gonna let him go because we're like, we're not gonna make people drink booze to come on the show, but like, if you drink the coffee and a letter P, there has to be danger. So
Twist my arm. Go ahead.
Yeah, come on. Irish coffees. Yeah. No, that was a fun start though. I remember how long did that last though? Because I feel like we did a couple episodes and we were like, I feel like we need to start being a little bit more critical. We can't just
Dude, our first was it really that bad?
Throw
Was Cats.
movies all the
Honestly, do you
time.
think we need to be?
oh, yeah. Forgot that was our first time out of the box.
Okay, like, all right. You want to judge how well we did with positivity? I got a nice little clip here. Let's just sit through exactly how positive we've been this year.
There's one part, so when they go inside, and they basically do like 3 sequences in a row, where you're like, I don't know what the fuck's going on at all.
Like the makeup team, that was like, I'm pretty sure all practical, or mostly practical. He looked phenomenal as the character.
I feel like he really did his homework too. I'm just gonna go ahead and say,
Wasn't really given a lot to work with.
no, this is maybe the worst script to ever be put.
There's a lot of good stuff in it. Like when they team up and like fight the main villain on the Bifrost, it's oh wait, that's Thor. Sorry, no, this was not a good.
Yeah, Jake.
I just feel like Lord of the Rings, for all that it was, the storytelling was great.
It's our number one seed.
Production wise, it didn't age well.
Ooh.
And
Hit the buzzer. Still disagree with you.
asshole.
Hit
Hit the buzzer,
you bastard.
Never in the third movie of Austin Powers was I thinking, wait a second, where did they go wrong? I never thought that.
Oh my god, that is so good. That is so accurate. The third Godfather is definitely the worst of these 6 movies.
Plot of Tokyo Drift is fucking stupid, and you guys have said so much cool stuff about it. It is. It's really stupid. I just rewatched it, and and everybody sits there and goes, "It's a good change." You know, the way they drift, it's a different culture. The way they surround the girl's car until she gets her number, that's cool.
Yeah.
The plot's fucking stupid. They cause $100,000 worth of damage, so he goes to his Navy dad, and then everything's right.
I had no idea that was going to fucking happen.
Yeah, and it's all because of Dave's fucking test that he does. It's like
Dave's fucking bullshit X test. What is the X test? What the fuck is it? Fuck your X. Buzz your X
This
test.
was
you fucking cunt.
this
What
was
the
a
fuck is that
17 to
shit?
7. So if I just, man, I wish I just saw these movies and just said Toy Story, but I can't. I can't do it.
When you get to the Star Treks, if you decide to watch them, you can skip number 5.
Skip number 5. Yeah, skip number 5 for anyone who's wondering.
And skip
that
number
is the
10.
final frontier. Skip the final frontier and skip.
Number 5 is directed.
Nemesis is pretty rough. Number 10, yeah, that is a pretty bad one.
Nemesis sucks ass.
That one came out when we were like in
Jesus.
high school, Jeff.
And fucking Grease, stood alone as far as a movie musical. And why in the world you'd come back and make this atrocious piece of shit?
So, yeah, you guys listening can be the judge. How'd we do in our positivity this year?
Oh,
I don't know who that last guy was. He's not immediately identifiable as at all.
We should be all alcoholics based on the rules of the game.
I mean, come on, Jesus Christ! I think
The
we tried
funniest thing
real
is, like,
hard.
if you go back to the first episode, we didn't even have the buzzer then. We were just shouting at each other to drink across the table. The buzzer didn't get until episode 2.
just screaming at each other.
Brilliant.
Oh, that's pretty good. There have definitely been days when I woke up the next day very scared and ashamed of the things I would have said in the third segment. I was like panicking after the Avatar episode. I was like,
James Cameron's coming to get me.
terrible things. Honestly, I feel like a spaceship is going to land in my backyard and just.
I was
The thing I've
reminded,
said-
and I'll remind you because we're live tonight. There are no take backs.
we can't
I have
talk
to be
about
very
that.
careful. I can't.
Oh my
I can't
God.
send Dave a note and say, "Please take that one part out."
Yeah.
No.
So let's talk about Noah.
Oh, Dave. More than anything else this year, I
Ryan.
said, well, I'm never going to work again anyway, so.
Oh no.
Oh,
Fucking
yeah,
terrible.
there were
All right.
there were times when it didn't. It got a little aggressive during the. Was it really that bad? It was like yes, it was.
It really was.
There were times.
Well, I
when-
hope that being said, I hope the overall sentiment of the show is that we fucking love movies, even if we don't think they're great. We still have fun fucking watching them.
like we didn't
love
turn any of
talking
these
about
off.
them.
We watched them all the way through. Like there was
Yeah.
I even like fucking Stay Hungry. I watched the whole way through, and it was
cracks some molars in the back of your mouth while you were watching it. I think.
Oh.
No, but it's been good.
That's the reason I had to buy a new TV. The other one was dirty.
I don't think any of us needed like tons of excuses to watch movies, but this show has definitely been fun. To the redemptions, especially. Like I probably wouldn't have watched a lot of those movies otherwise. So like I feel like I found some things that I wouldn't have watched.
And I feel like it's, as well, there has been cases where people have contacted us and said that we watched this. There's been people disagree with this. A lot of people came out to bat for Grease 2. That was quite controversial, apparently.
Buzz all of those motherfuckers.
Hold
right?
on. While we're talking about Grease 2, we have a chat in Facebook from our friend Chris Hazard, who I'm hoping is still on, even though it's been sitting here for a minute, who said he did a show with Adrian Zemed. Is that how you say that name?
Yes.
He did a show. He did Children of Eden at Paper Mill, the original production.
Oh shit, the original. Yeah.
And he said he worked with them and they went bowling together. So maybe that means they're a good person, and you should take your Grease 2 hate back to where you came from. Huh?
There you go. Yeah.
You know,
He was also in T.J. Hooker with
Why?
William Shatner. He was Shatner's partner. In
Look,
T.J.
it's nothing. It's nothing personal. Jack, you were saying this at the beginning of the show. Like we can be very forgiving if we love an actor or something. I don't hold it against the actor, but like it's not up to the actor to make a good movie. Like it's a director's movie, right? They can't help it. So Adrian, it's not personal, dude. Grease 2 just isn't good. You know it's not good. Come on.
Pass the word on.
And he really had less of a part in Grease 2 than the other guy who was like the quote hero on the
who's that guy?
Whatever that guy.
That guy,
Rex Manning.
so famous.
No, he was Rex Manning in Empire Records. Come on, guys, Rex Manning.
Oh, you're fucking right. You're right.
Probably gets points for that.
Yeah. Let's not go down Grease 2.
I'll tell you what though. Like over the course of the year, this show has gotten like more and more. Like it's built, it's complicated. We went to live streaming after a while, and which was fun. And then we kind of got caught the bug, and we started doing sections of the show. Now we do the whole show live every week as well, and release a podcast version. But I'll tell you what, like my Stream Deck started off with 3 buttons on it, and now we're like,
what is that?
Jesus
that's page
Christ,
1.
Dude.
I wish I'd bought the bigger one, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like this has turned into like a business for you, right? Like starting this podcast, and now
so if
Pretty
anyone
soon we'll be
needs
saying-
how to do this stuff.
if anyone needs
Pretty
to
soon.
hire anyone,
Yeah. Pretty soon we'll be saying, Dave, your Stream Deck is so big. Because you'll have to get a bigger one.
yeah, honest.
Yeah,
You won't be able to see me. There'll just be this fucking Stream Deck here.
Jeff, what were you saying?
Well, I was going to ask a question to our guests on here, because I'm going to feel bad if we keep doing all the clips and basically just have you guys say, like, how did you like our show, you know, that you guys have guested on a couple times. So we spent a long time on our franchises. We originally had 16 franchises, and then we threw a couple in there. So the three of us watched a lot of franchises. So let's kick it off to you, pretending that you have seen every franchise immediately back to back to back to back to back. What would you say is your 1 or 2 favorite franchises in our format, which is basically 3 or more, same narrative thread of some kind? And so Marvel is all tied together, but Lord of the Rings is separated from The Hobbit, if that makes sense. Do you guys have any ones that you love?
Yeah,
or
it
even
could
some that
be
you want to shout
ours, or it could be ours, or it could be something that we didn't include. Like, what's your favorites?
I'll let Ryan go first.
Oh wow, I was just about to do the same damn thing.
I'm gonna put you on the
I beat you
spot.
to
We probably
it.
would just ask you live. Yeah.
I love that you
draft.
did I love that you did the Cornetto trilogy. I was really happy that made a appearance in there. But wow, the Friday the 13th films I love, and I love that we revisited that for Halloween.
Halloween, yeah.
The Dark Knight trilogy didn't factor in, did it?
And not until the middle. We had to
it's
reintroduce
okay.
that as a wild card.
That was like a
That was
got it at the end.
And did you guys do James Bond? Because Bond just has to. Yeah,
We talked about it, and it did not.
I think I did. I kind of vaguely remember hearing Jeff go, "There is no way I'm watching 35 fucking films."
Correct.
You might have heard his
Yeah.
thoughts. I don't know whether he even said it, but yeah, we all knew that.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you on too many films and 3-hour films. Like I watched 4 1.5-hour films yesterday, and I was all good. But chuck a 3-hour film in there, nah, I'm out.
Yeah.
But also, James Bond had a lot of duds. So that was my argument with Star Trek. They had 11 films, and they just said, don't watch 2 of them. And I was like, this is the best franchise of all time. You can't say skip 2 of the movies. So with James Bond, it's great. We watched 1 as one of our redemption movies, and based on that one alone, it is great on a different metric. It is great on the, longevity.
I don't know. I just had to go to rehab after watching that.
Live and Let Die. Wow, that was terrible.
Yeah.
That was awful.
But they apparently only licensed one song, so they had to sing the one song 5
Just
times.
all the way through.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, Cornetto Chili was our 16th seed, and that was really fucking fun. It's too bad that it had to go up against Lord of the Rings, because I wish that was like our deep cut, like wild card that would find like the Cinderella. I wish that was our Cinderella story in our bracket.
That's tough.
Yeah, it was a good example though of like I'm glad we watched it because I think some people may have given it a chance because of that. I hadn't watched them all back to back like that.
And how well they work together.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think you guys were fair until a point with Austin Powers. There's a special place for that in my heart.
Dave.
And I don't think you guys were very fair to the Grease franchise. I
Oh yeah,
Here we go again.
Sure. It was weird. I will say, actually, Jack, you answer first, and then I'll say a big picture thing about the whole franchise face off. How about you, Jack?
Okay, for me, I'm a big Star Wars fan. Episodes 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
You know, of all time, my favorite trilogy.
Definitely, yeah.
But I would put the Star Trek series next because I'm just a big sci-fi person. But I was going to bring up, since Sean Connery passed this year, I have been watching a lot of the Bond films. I went back and just started watching, not necessarily in chronological order, just, whenever I could. And so yesterday I watched
Peacock or something just got all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
And I watched The World Is Not Enough. Now, I saw it when it came out, but it never really got a lot of attention, and I watched it again yesterday, and I didn't remember it. So it was like I was watching a new Bond film, and, I enjoyed it.
Is that the one with
was that Brosnan?
Halle?
That's the one with
Yeah, it's
Denise
Pierce.
Richards. Denise Richards.
yeah.
Pierce Brosnan. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his
And,
third one, right?
I think it was his third one.
Tomorrow Never Dies, then World Is Not Enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Die Another Day. Yeah.
But
Die Another Day. Excuse me. Yeah.
Die Another Day with that was the Madonna theme song, wasn't it?
It was,
Die Another Day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Madonna Ramirez.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's 35 films. You can't watch them all, but as a body of work, and we all have our favorite. Sean Connery is my favorite Bond. Pierce Brosnan would have been my second favorite.
I like George Lazenby. It's
He was good.
Yeah, one and done.
Her Majesty's Secret Service.
I'm glad I buzzed myself.
Oh, you were buzzed. Yeah.
It's
You were.
George Lazenby is like me when I cooked the Christmas turkey one year. It was like it came out perfect. I'm like, right, I'm never cooking a fucking Christmas turkey again.
Right. Have you seen that
I'm
documentary?
done.
Have you seen the documentary on him? As his
No.
Bond movie, you should watch it. It's very good. Yeah.
They made a documentary about the making of that movie.
No, just about him being Bond one time and one time only.
That was
cool.
the movie
Nice,
that
dude.
was that the movie that was made out of spite? There was one of them that was made out of spite.
No, that was Never Say Never Again,
Yeah.
where Connery came back. It was not made by the broccoli folks,
It's the only one.
not the
made by
vegetable
Broccoli, right?
people, the
Yeah.
producers.
Right.
Right. And he said he would never never play Bond again. So that's why they named it Never Say Never.
Brilliant. And then Daniel
It was weird
Craig said
watching-
basically the same thing.
And he just can't fucking stop.
You
I
know,
will say,
Craig,
too-
Craig is a good Bond, but I don't think his scripts are as good.
They had a writer's strike during one of them.
And
Yeah.
they just seem
That
like
explains it.
they're so slow moving.
So who do you want to see as the next Bond? That is the question.
Mm.
I'm
you're gonna go
Team
with,
Idris.
And it already been determined there's going to be a female playing the next
Yeah, I
Bond?
thought it was going to be a woman.
No,
Yeah.
that's
That's in the new one.
yeah.
The new 007 technically is the lady who played Monica Rambeau in.
Yeah, that young
in
agent. That's the young agent that's with him. Yeah, what
Yeah,
is
I
it?
like
Oh,
Idris,
is
but I
it?
need
No.
somebody younger if it's going to be 20 years. I need somebody
Skyfall.
younger.
She
I would
played
take
in
Daniel
Skyfall, right?
Kaluuya or somebody younger.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's a tough franchise to cast for. Because
It
Yeah.
is. It is.
It is. I mean, it's like when they were trying to cast Han Solo. It's like the expectations are through the roof before you even take the role.
Good. Phoebe Waller-Bridge as 007. Come on. Let's
Oh
go.
yeah, damn! That'd
Hell yeah.
let her do the script and yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a whole new.
We will lay 45 people
So-
of all
so
genders
different.
during every movie.
Because, yep.
I'm
What does
all
what does,
about it.
what does
It'd be
Bond
so
need?
fucking
More
different.
anal. Yeah.
Hey,
Ba-da-ba.
Wow.
You're all weak.
Jesus Christ Almighty!
Rather veal.
I will say about the Austin Powers comment you made. It was weird. I don't know how Jeff and Dave feel. We may have talked about it. I can't remember. I was drunk, but we were was weird watching all these things back to back because everyone kind of has a similar nostalgic feeling about their favorite franchises whenever you watch them growing up, or, you know, who knows when you watch them. I have never done what we did where we were like watching them sequentially and comparing them to each other. It started making me think about how to qualify franchises differently. And I'm not sure if I'm a better movie watcher for it or if it was just fun for the podcast, because I know what you mean. Like there are sometimes when I look back and I'm like, how did we not make that one go further? But like comparatively, it just at the time,
it
made
obviously
sense.
didn't get as many X's as the other one.
The X system.
I will say this about your podcast, because I was a listener before I had a chance to be a guest, you know, for the first time, episode 25. But the one thing I was really impressed about the podcast the first couple of times I heard it was whether you agree or disagree with you guys and your opinions, you cannot argue that you are not well prepared, that you've seen the films, that you've done some research, that you're able to be very knowledgeable about what you're talking about. And I noticed that right away. So
Thanks, man.
I think you should be very proud of that in your first year of your podcast, because you appreciate a critique better when you know that the person giving it is not just, you know, winging it, that they're prepared. You know, so
Yeah. No, I think it's more fun. The conversations were always more fun when we had fun conversation starters that were based in some kind of trivia or questioning the thematic stuff that came out of the movie. I feel like it was some of the most fun conversations I had were when we were actually trying to redeem bad movies, when we were really digging in and trying to understand why was it just not made well, or did this theme not get progressed well with the story? The protagonist wasn't developed correctly. Like that was sometimes it made me think about movies a little bit differently, because it's easy to just sit back and say that movie sucked. Like going back to our initial meeting at the bar, like that was the whole mission statement, right? Like how do we actually try to talk positively or critically, positive criticism about all movies?
I mean, to be honest, a lot of the stuff in Was It Really That Bad is in jest and it's in good fun. Sometimes we mean it, but actually it's funny. I've with the Halloween show, when we got to Jason X, because you're talking about actually trying to redeem stuff. And this was basically, I pulled a whammy on these guys because I divided them up into two teams, and it's like, no matter what, this is the best movie you've seen, and no matter what, this is the worst movie you've seen on either side. Right. And I just want to, like, I'm just going to play this quickly because watch John.
We switched, right?
Try to redeem Jason X, and he really tries hard.
And this is the Citizen Kane of horror movies for several reasons.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Go on.
Great team member. Thank you.
What horror movies were missing until Jason X was a shitty sci-fi television show tone. The tone of this film tells you that you're going to laugh and that's okay. That everything's going to be lit brightly and that's how it should be. And that Jason is something that you should root for, not be afraid of. That's basically what I took away from this. When the ants replace him with metal body parts by the end of this movie, and he turns into the super shredder of Jason's, I realized this was the movie I have been waiting for this entire week. I watched.
There's one part. So when they go inside, and they basically do like 3 sequences in a row where you're like, I don't know what the fuck's going on at all.
Like the makeup scene.
It's okay. We're live.
Pause everything.
I tried so hard, you guys.
All great points. All valid points.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to switch because I actually really liked it. And I was on the not like team, and I was like, no, I can like this movie. And then I get on live, and I was like, can I switch? And everybody's like, no.
No, you can't switch.
No, you can switch. You'll still get everything, but everything you say will get buzzed. So, yeah, no, it was on.
And I think we were drunk enough at that point.
Well, the truth is, you can have fun watching a bad movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You can be
I
entertained.
think that's what they like. Some of these, especially when you get into the horror franchises,
It's campy and
yeah, it's like, we know it's bad, you know it's bad, you're here to have fun. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like
That's also part of That's also part of the MO, isn't it? Like we also were talking pretty consciously about we know we're living in a time when people don't watch movies as much anymore. Like the three of us were just chit-chatting about that. Like we feel like streaming television shows are taking up most of people's time, and that's cool. Series are great. You know, it's wonderful content. But we also wanted to get people to just remember how much fun it is to sit down for an hour and a half, 2 hours and watch a movie. Like it's a different kind of experience. It's different than watching 1 or 2 episodes back to back. It's a different kind of thing. Not to mention that there's literally almost an entire century of content that a lot of people haven't seen.
Yeah. Also,
So
it's like
worth going back.
Like we're totally advocating the cinema, and the second it's safe to go back, I'll be going right back, because it's
Sure.
it's there's you're going to get a completely different reaction to something like, you know, Jim Carrey's Liar Liar, sitting at home in your living room, to what you are sitting in a room full of people who are pissing themselves laughing with you, and it's that vibe, and I think that's why it's, you know, it's the vibe.
Me too,
That's
dude.
why they're going to.
I was so honored. I think you guys did the same thing. I remember, you know, I could say this about like different kinds of movies, but a real classic experience last year with the Rise of Skywalker, and before that, Infinity War. Just like sitting in a jam-packed giant IMAX movie theater, and just everyone on bated breath on the edge of their seat, just like reacting. And, you know, everyone was totally shameless with their reactions, or totally quiet when we were supposed to be. Like, God damn it, I miss doing that. I hope everyone out there has a pretty good setup, but like, it's just not the same thing as sitting around with people who want to be watching that movie with you. And
the
and have a good
best
experience.
example is when I went and saw Avengers Endgame, and I walked out just a little bit disappointed. You know, it was like, it was okay, but it yeah. And then I saw the clips a year later where they were in a theater with people that were fucking pumped to be there. And so like, he picks up that hammer and the whole audience lost their shit. And I'm like, I wanted to be in that theater. I want to be in that theater with those people. Cause like, I feel like I would have walked out of there on like walking on air basically. And I would have been, this is the best fucking movie ever.
Yeah. The theater can make a difference. In the what's the Ryan Johnson one that you hate, that Star Wars, the
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. In that moment, again, I was in a full theater, and everyone knows the big moment when Laura Dern takes the ship through the Empire ship, and it's in total silence. Our movie was totally quiet, and this guy in the middle of the silence, as soon as the ship took off, he just went, whoa! He just started screaming, and everyone started clapping, and it was like, fuck, you know, it was just like, you just don't have those experiences sitting at home.
Force Awakens. You know? I went and saw Force Awakens in IMAX down here at Lincoln Center, and one of the guys that was sitting next to us, I don't want to say he was fucking pumped to be there, but he could not sit still. Like, he was bouncing around. He was sharing his candy with everyone. I don't know. I may have popped acid. I don't know.
Star Wars cocaine. Yeah,
he's like bouncing in his seat. And we got to the scene. I'm pretty sure we can spoil it now, but we got to the scene where Han's walking out to his son on the catwalk, and they kind of telegraph what's going to happen. But there's this tense moment of which way will I go, and this guy's like, no. And then it happens, and he's up out of his chair, banging his fist on his leg. He's like, no, and it like lost his mind. It was the most amazing reaction, and I'll never forget that movie for that reason.
You're scared.
Yeah,
I did that. It's fun. I did that in Game of Thrones, episode 10. I was pacing and shouting around. Season 6, episode 10. The last.
I remember that.
The last watchable
that's
episode
for you, Jeff.
of
That
Game
is
of
for
Thrones.
you.
I was doing that the whole last season. Just
The whole last season. We could not sit down the whole last
It's so
season.
funny because this was me the last 2 seasons.
Ryan drank before I even buzzed him.
You did do that a lot, dude. Your head was in your hands most of the last seasons. I feel like.
But you know,
Anyway, I also hope.
Yeah.
Go, Jack. No.
I was just going to say, in a full movie theater, you feed off the energy of the people that are there with you. And that's what you can't replicate at home, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah.
I also feel that even with I often on the opposite end of that spectrum, when I was still living in New York, multiple times a week, I was going to smaller art house theaters and independent cinemas, and it was like me and a few other people. Same thing. Just knowing you're in that movie house with people who really want to be there makes a difference. I don't know. It changes things. You know, it's kind of hard to do that at home.
In a movie theater, you know, it's dark. You don't have the distractions of light coming in through the windows or dogs barking or somebody rings your doorbell and kind of blows the whole mood. You've got that ability to unplug for 90 minutes, 2 hours, however long the movie is, and take it all in. And I think that's the true.
It's the whole
movie
fucking
going.
point, right?
Yeah.
Also,
One
I'm
of the-
in a New York apartment. I can't turn my sub up. So,
Yeah, you can't blast it.
someone
I miss-
will come knock on my door.
I miss playing dumb in movies. You know, and you go in the movie and you're just like, you know what? I'm here. Whatever you got, I'm here for you. Like I watched the first shit, Force Awakens in theaters, yelling, clapping. I watched it with John and Al afterwards, or maybe it was Dave. It was Dave. I watched it with John and Dave later, and I went, "Oh no!" And then same thing.
Oh no!
I mean, it's a very entertaining movie, but there's just so many plot holes in it. And then later, when you go to the 9th film, and it's like they killed Chewbacca. Oh no, they didn't. And you're like, "Yay!" And then later, you're like, "That's really bad writing. That's so stupid." Just kill the experience. Kill the Wookiee. Just fucking kill him. It's okay. It's
There's
the last
plenty
one.
more.
It's fine.
Fine, There's a whole
Kill
planet
the
of them.
And then at the end, when they're like, "You wanted a war? We'll give you a war!" And all of a sudden, there's ships coming out of the ground because that makes sense, and they're manned because that makes sense, and the whole rebel army you've been waiting for 9 fucking movies finally shows up because that makes total sense, and you're like, "Fuck yeah!" And then you watch it at home and you go, "Wait, this was so stupid, so
too.
fucking fun." God, I miss that so much.
God, please go off again, dude. Hopefully that's the
That's a
first
great
of many.
point.
How long have you been
God,
holding
that's
that
so
one
good.
in?
That is
Ships
so-
came out of the ground and they were manned.
These guys are just sitting there.
He's back.
It's like, what?
I know what you
That
mean.
makes-
Dude.
that makes-
Honestly, no, but I mean
That does
I
make
mean,
sense to an Australian. There
Well, it
are
does,
people
sir.
who live in the ground in Australia. In
The people
Coopede.
got on the ships, and the ships buried themselves in the sand, awaiting a chance to come back out.
We're sitting there going like this.
Totally get it.
I mean, after
movies-
2020, that makes sense to a lot of people. It's like,
This was a medium that was created with like events kind of audience, situations. I mean, not to get too corny, but I went to a film festival in Queens with our first film, and the head of the festival tells this little anecdote before they start the festival about how, for thousands of years, we've gathered in the dark to tell stories with light shining against the wall, playing with the shadows. Like we've done this forever. And like, this is like the most recent version of this. So whether we like it or not, I think that there's something really sexy and about the accessibility that we all have to watch anything ever made right on our television screens in front of us. But I don't know anyone that would disagree with us, you guys. Like there are bad experiences that can be had in the movie theaters as well. People who just won't shut the fuck up and loud candy chewers and stuff like that. Nobody misses that. But for the right movie with the right crowd, I do hope that people don't use this as an excuse to stop going to the theater. That is, I kind of hope
I
that
agree.
2020 has
Good
the
point,
opposite effect.
yeah.
I hope it makes people want to go back
I mean,
more.
to turn it back to news, like HBO is already Warner Brothers is kind of already walking back there. Everything's going to
great.
streaming this year. So, like, because Dune is now, maybe it will, maybe it won't. Because,
Good.
yeah, Villeneuve
think the-
Villeneuve lost it.
The counter to that, though, is I think FOMO it comes back. Everybody has that. It's part of the human experience. And sometimes on Friday night, when you can do something, it's hard to not do something. And so like now I'm doing my patriotic duty by not leaving my house and just sitting in my PJs all day and watching television. And it's a really tough life, but like, I'm happy to do it for the country and for the society. But
We thank you,
on a-
Jeff.
12
on a
months ago,
Friday
you were
night-
a bum. Now you're a hero.
But if I'm doing that, knowing 100 million people around the world are going to see Tenet on opening night, like I'm going to have FOMO about that. And so people need things to do. Like that's why do you think movies have quadrupled in value over like the past 20 years, right? It's not just inflation. It's just like people need something to do. And it's such an easy, obvious
it's
thing.
Marvel.
Well, the
And it's
cinema is
entertaining, so it's
the
gonna
cinema
happen. I
is the
think
gateway drug to being social. I went and
Yeah,
saw
what are you gonna
Wonder
talk
Woman.
about?
Yeah,
Otherwise.
exactly. and it's a great date because you don't have to talk to them and show them the ugly side of your personality until later down the track. But I went to see Wonder Woman in the cinema the other night, and there was literally like 3 other people in the cinema, but it did not take away from the experience of going to the cinema again. And sitting
I'm
there,
so jealous.
it's really a thing having that meta moment, and I really hope you guys get to experience it soon. Of going, I have these
We have these things
drinks
called
around
movies.
yeah.
yeah, in cinemas. And they only played 10 minutes of previews, which I was really like, guys, I know I've got a 15-minute grace.
Well,
usually.
there's only 3 fucking movies coming out this year, so
Exactly. It was just the same trailer over 3 times.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
But
Ryan, you
was-
just did it.
and
Let's
the
go there,
Oscar
dude. Let's talk
campaign
about-
for Invisible Man.
Hell yeah, Elizabeth Moss. Shout out. Let's do it. You just talked about it. Let's open it up. We all watched Wonder Woman 1984 this week, so you just brought it up. I think we should go there. Like, first of all, how was your experience watching it in the theater? I'm curious. Feel free to chime in. I'm curious if you had if just going there, if your experience is going to be a little bit different than ours, watching it at home on our televisions.
Honestly,
also, if anyone on the chats have seen it, feel free to weigh in because
get the fuck in there. Yeah.
Honestly, seeing it in the cinema, seeing it ravaged in the last few days by people who have now like gone and witnessed it either at home. I had a completely different experience, and I've had to sort of be like, I liked it, and a lot of people are really getting deep into it. This and that, and I was like, no, on the big screen it was awesome. Like when she's riding the lightning, hell yes. Even though you saw that in the trailer, so no spoilers there.
Mm-hmm. I guess we won't do spoilers, but Jeff, do you want to give us your usual? You want to line it up for us? Tell people what this one's about in case they've been living under a rock and they're not sure what this thing has been teased for like a year and a half, but just in case.
It's really funny. You know, what's funny is I wasn't going to do it because I pictured this segue differently. But like, fuck yeah, I got it here. I'll just read the
pretend we segue.
Wonder Woman,
no segue.
1984, directed and co-written by Patty Jenkins, starring Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Kristen Wiig. Rewind to the 1980s as Wonder Woman capitalizes on what made Stranger Things really popular. I'm sorry, no, that's
yes.
That's
Nostalgia.
Oh, sorry, I just got off script a little bit here. Okay, sorry. Rewind to the 1980s as Wonder Woman shows us what it's like when she goes from Spider-Man to Supergirl in one movie.
Oh, he did it again. He just did it again.
So sorry, I went off script here a little bit. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay,
Jeff, what the fuck are you reading?
No. Keep going. There's rule of threes. There's got to be one more.
Rewinds to the 1980s, a time when an attractive girl with glasses was a nerd, and then she took them off and she became a jungle cat.
Ever. Jungle, yeah, dude. She was in Cats, right?
Sorry.
She was the white one in Cats?
So okay, sorry. No, I found it here. I got it. Grease 2 was just stuck on my screen and it just wouldn't leave, and now here I'm back. Okay. Rewinds to the 1980s.
Sorry, force a habit.
Oh my God. Rewind.
Okay, sorry. Rewinds to the 1980s as Wonder Woman's next big screen adventure finds her facing 2 all-new foes, Max Lord and the Cheetah. Is that a good enough setup for you?
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Well,
I can tell where we're going with this. I first want to say, I think as a loyal DC fan, the first movie represented like the warrior Amazonian Themyscirian like warrior princess, and showed kind of Wonder Woman as this bold warrior, and really played into that. This one, and for loyalists, we're wondering where's the plane, where's more of the lasso of truth, and a lot of the campier side of the character that has always been part of the character.
Right.
Putting this in the 80s meant that they could introduce those things under a veil of authenticity because it fit that period. If you tried to bring in the plane any other time period, I think not even a chance. I will say that I don't think they introduced that perfectly, but there were some things that worked, some things that didn't, and other things that you went, oh, it was the 80s, man. So cool.
Yeah. I
think Maxwell Lord as Gordon Gekko works really well. And I would struggle to see how they would weave Cheetah into a storyline otherwise. Not that it was fantastic, but there's definitely John Hughes notes. There's definitely some like 80s magic or like spiritual stuff that you go, oh yeah, cool, it kind of works. And I'd be interested to see how this film ages, whether we would watch it in a canon of watching 80s films with it, or where it fits, in 2020. or if it fits perfectly into 2020, the dumpster fire that is 2020.
I was thinking about the timeline though. If you go with your DC timeline, like it'll be number 2, right?
Mhm.
So far for all their movies. That was something I thought about as well. Like I think this movie is going to be, if you didn't enjoy it, if you're one of those people who thought I didn't like this movie, I think we will enjoy it more after this year is over. I don't know why. I just have a feeling it just didn't land for some people with a very specific context to this year and how much we were anticipating this movie. I didn't think this movie was bad, but I understand why it frustrated some people because it was so different, and you nailed it, dude. The first one was for me, someone who doesn't follow DC Comics and didn't understand her origin and didn't know anything about her. I just knew there was an old series. I never read the comic books. I didn't know anything about it. So like all the really great, successful comic books movies, I enjoy an origin story because it opens the door for me. And it's usually a little bit more grounded in the drama of a character becoming a character. This one felt more like, all right, I'm learning about Wonder Woman, the episodic.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I felt like I was watching the first episodic version of this movie, which some things felt maybe a little bit forced. And I know some hardcore fans may have, the way they introduced some of the gimmicks and the invisibility of the plane. There were some things that felt like, well, that was for the fans, but I didn't really care. I still had fun.
Where the fuck did that
It
plane
didn't really
come from?
bother me. I wasn't frustrated. Where the fuck did the plane? Yeah, where
wait,
was that? They
why
did kind
does
of
she
walk
know about
into
a
that
plane parking lot?
My parents were not told that the plane was fully gassed up, ready to go. It made it all the way to Egypt.
She had total access. Was that the Aeronautics Museum because she's a member of the
The
Smithsonian?
Smithsonian, yeah.
That was
I
the
think it was
impression
the-
that was
That's
given.
the
yes.
impression.
Okay,
That's the
so
impression.
yeah, all right.
That's-
So, yeah,
there's a
we
few
had to ask
stretches
that
in
question. Yeah,
That's
Very
why they thought it
tenuous.
was so weird that there was a plane on the runway because
Mhm.
those planes don't fly anymore, right? Jack,
Yeah.
you saw it. When did you watch it?
I watched it this afternoon. Yeah.
What did you think? Get in there before.
Well, I enjoyed the movie. I'm not a big fan of all the comic movies. I mean, that's not the first thing I want to rush to the cinema to see when it opens, but I eventually get around to it. Usually it's maybe on streaming. This was fun to watch. It was fun seeing Pedro Pascal in a totally different role.
that was fun.
You know, different than what I normally see him. There were some holes in it, like what you just mentioned about the plane being fueled and ready to go. Also amazing that Chris Pine able to fly a jet after only have flown a biplane.
he said, well, he needed a moment. He needed that wasn't the right switch. He got it on the second try, though.
Yes, he did. But
It gives me hope of my pilot career.
Your thrust point is in a different position.
yeah, I mean, I love all the people in the movie. I mean, I thought Gal Gadot was great. Chris Pine was great. I love Kristen Wiig. I thought she was fantastic. Pedro Pascal. I'm just not sure that her transformation was as believable the second part
Two
as it
villains
was
is so hard. Nobody should.
Yeah, it's hard to have two villains, and neither one of these villains were terrifically. What's the word I'm looking for? You didn't really hate. Well, you didn't hate them enough. You know, I mean, you felt more sorry for Max Lord.
Max, yeah.
You felt more sorry for that than you were angry at him. You know?
You know
which
those
is not-
montage films where you have like three different slices of life. That's what this was.
Yeah.
Well,
I did feel like get in there, dude. Do it.
No, I just kind of also felt like the villains weren't really at odds with Wonder Woman in any direct way.
Yeah, she almost didn't seem necessary for some of the movie.
Yeah. Which was a bit of a struggle.
I think the biggest flaw, and again, I don't want to sound like I had no fun. I enjoyed watching this movie, but this was one of those movies that, with massive studio pictures like this, sometimes you can't help but notice the response to the time that they are making these movies in. So this movie almost felt like there was some abrasive allegory about truth that we all are living right now, and we know how important that is, and we know that we've been living under this age of the orange guy, that we felt like this was being challenged, and everyone wants to talk about it. We all want art and culture to comment on it, but there's a way to comment on it without it being so in your face. And she literally looks down the cannon in her big climax at the end and says truth is the most. I mean, how many times did they say that word in this movie? Truth.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of that I felt like, just as an editor, if I were to sit back with the director, I would be like, Patty, I think we nailed it with like 30% of it, maybe even less. I feel like less is going to be more. And there were just so many speeches that should have been cut. Let me give you a very specific example. This is not a spoiler. There is an exchange when Kristen Wiig finally evolves and starts owning her character, not her final evolution. And she has a big monologue about back and forth with Gal. She monologues and then Gal goes back and forth with her about, are you sure you want to do this? She did not need to say any of it to further her character. I already knew what that conflict was. So the allegory of the message that that her character was doing to the story, I understood it, and it was richer in silence. I was able to observe their conflict, and instead they monologued. So I did feel like there were a few times where it wasn't the filmmaking, it wasn't necessarily the first script, it was the final script, it was the editing draft. I feel like they did not cut some things that they could have gotten away with cutting. So I'm kind of curious if they're going to cut some of this. I would not be surprised if they release a slightly different version after getting destroyed so much with this coming out. I don't know. What do you think?
Did you think that was a bit of an 80s trope though? Because I think monologuing is so specific to 80s films. Where
was it supposed to be there? Yeah.
There were just too many.
There were too many, because if it would have built to the last one where she looks down the cannon,
yeah,
I think I would have written it off to what you said, and I feel like she would have earned that 80s trope. But less is more. I feel like they maybe did it too much. I don't know.
I'm a massive Buffy fan, and who doesn't love a strong female giving you a
I know, but Joss Whedon would have cut 3 of these. I know he would have. Come on.
Joss Whedon and DC. We don't talk about Joss Whedon and DC.
And then Joss Whedon would have been erased, and Zack Snyder would come in and fix it. So
yeah. And there would be some kind of investigation.
Jeff, when did you watch it?
I watched it last night with my parents. I think you're onto something, John. This movie, so the first one came out in 2017, filmed 2016. So filmed election year, came out year after.
Right. Yeah.
So this movie's very clearly coming out in 2020, and they know that, and everybody knows it. And the movie's about truth versus lies, greed, avarice, wanting more, morality, Machiavellian ends justifying the means, yada yada, and televangelists. I mean, come on, like this is very, very clearly. Like, tell me your wish, tell me your dream, and then I'm going to steal what I want from you in pretending that you're actually achieving your dream. Like, it's obvious. It's very obvious, right?
Actually, that artifact was established. So, like, that's canon.
Yes. But as far as the point of this movie,
yeah,
I don't care about the artifacts. The point of this movie is that. And actually, if I'm going to go ahead and guess what I think the overall point of the movie is, which is what, John, you always talk about Game of Thrones, where they basically were like, I don't give a shit what happens, just give me an ice dragon. And they sacrificed everything along the way to get the stupid fucking ice dragon. Morality, common sense. In this movie, they wanted to get to the point where Wonder Woman's powers can't solve the problem. We have to solve our own problem. Sorry, that's maybe like a little bit of a spoiler, but whatever. They didn't get there because we're saying all of this stuff, and none of this has to do with Wonder Woman, right? We're all this greed, avarice, yada yada yada.
Agreed.
What about Wonder Woman? So in the first one, she needs to kind of solve like the world war, and she's the Amazonian princess, come back, and all that kind of stuff. But all of these issues, where does Wonder Woman fit in? And then when you throw 2 villains in there, and then when you do 2 villains, you have to give one the powers too early and one the powers too late, because you can't introduce them at the same time. So I love Pedro Pascal, but he got it too early. And then I like Kristen Wiig a lot. She got it too late, and I still didn't know enough about her. And so there's just that's where it is for me, because I love all of the questions. I love all of the characters. For some reason, the puzzle pieces just didn't fit perfectly for me. Are they going to re-edit it? I don't think so, because it's there. And I was entertained at certain parts, but just for some reason, the puzzle pieces didn't fit.
Patty is very happy with this version. Like, I've been watching her on Twitter. She's very happy with this version. And again, this is like, this got divisive. It's almost Last Jedi divisive. Like, some people, half the world is like, this is the most amazing. Like, the thing, everything on Twitter is like, this is either the most amazing thing, or this is, oh my god, they DC'd this up. So it's like,
Did you pick up the precursor nod to the Me Too movement in this movie?
No. Well, I feel like both of these movies have tons of that in there. Which
I just felt like there was
the man assaulting her on the street,
right? And it happened twice with the same man. And the first time, Wonder Woman kicked his ass, and the second time it was Kristen Wiig, and it just seemed like that was an intentional message. And,
Yes.
and there's nothing wrong with that. It just
Good.
Yeah,
None of that's
that's great.
that's the only
Yeah.
frustrating thing for me is that I wrote a lot of notes.
Mhm.
What they were going for was right. There's nowhere in there where I'm like, they failed on that.
Right.
Everything about this was right, but for some reason I was bored. So what was it? I'm just curious.
I really agree with you, Jeff. I think you've nailed it,
The
Jeff.
action sequences were
Except for
great.
the board thing, I was not bored.
between the opening mall sequence, which was Spider-Man in Stranger Things, sorry,
Yeah,
and
it
then
was.
up until and then up until the Egypt sequence, which was Fast and the Furious meets Wonder Woman. But between that, it was a lot of talking and yapping and I don't know.
All right.
But all things I love.
I'm gonna weigh in here because
national
I've
team.
been the biggest purveyor of DC for so many years. I went with these guys to see Batman versus Superman and Justice League. I walked out of Batman versus Superman going, okay, that wasn't too bad. And I walked out of Justice League going, I'd like to see the rest of it. Which luckily this year I'm going to get to see it. But in this case, in this one, it was quite funny because I watched it with my wife and we had two very, very different reactions to this movie.
I was going to ask you, dude. Yeah.
She fucking hated it.
And why did she hate it?
She hated it because Wonder Woman was defined by her dead boyfriend.
Me too.
And
Me too.
And
I've always felt weird about that.
And I feel like that was I get where she's coming from, but I also feel like that was a device they used to put her in a fallible position. And also I did point out at one point that the wish that she makes, because she brings him back by wish, we all know that, was involuntary. She didn't do it on purpose. It was just what happened while she was holding this thing. And
yeah,
I feel like that, but also to every point that's been made, there's like so many gaps in this where they want you to come the rest of the way and fill in the blanks. And it just feels like there's a bit missing here and a bit missing there. And then there's bits that just go on too long. And I mean, I'm going to side with Jeff. There were a couple of times where I was like, come on, move on.
I also think that, go Jack. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I feel like somebody did a focus group after the first movie, and the love, the relationship between Wonder Woman and Chris Pine tested so strongly. They went, oh shit, we killed off this guy. How do we bring him back? Because this is a big fan favorite. And I felt like the return of his character was just a little bit the purpose of the movie.
Yeah. Just their chemistry.
I feel like it was
undeniable.
It was a risk. I always thought it was a risk too, because I'll go on record saying this because it sounds like, I think Therese, Dave's wife, and I have talked about this before, and I always tiptoed around this subject with my favorite female movie watchers. I loved the first Wonder Woman, except I thought it was kind of strange that the ultimate turn for her character was that she didn't actually discover her true power until her boyfriend showed her what it meant to risk everything for saving the world. She didn't really take on Ares and take on her true power until Chris Pine risked his life and then died for it. And then he taught her how to do that. So I was always a little weird about that.
Yeah.
Of course, I was so excited to see all the other wonderful allusions to feminism. And of course, it's awesome seeing those kick-ass things. And then they did this. And I felt like they kind of exploited that. And I kept waiting for the yes, but.
Don't get me wrong.
You know what I mean? Like thematically, like the yes, but. And it never got there with the boyfriend. He was just there for her to deal with the fact that she's a woman who has basically spent the last 40 plus years pining over her lost love. I thought that was a little offensive to the strongest woman in the history of the universe. It's I don't know. I feel like she's wise and smart enough to have moved on, and there could have been a different catalyst.
And again, I was willing to go
make
with them on
her
that.
deal with that conflict.
I was willing to go with them on that. But it was just, I felt like Wonder Woman was sidelined for most of this movie. Kristen Wiig was fucking amazing. This is hands down Kristen Wiig's best film ever. I'll say that right now.
Actually, a very good actress.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
And she
like
filled in the blanks.
The progression of Cheetah, like when this movie finished, and it finished with like how it finishes. The one thing I wanted to see, because and with how it finishes, the artifact is around. I wanted to see her make the choice to go back to that because I want to see more of that character. I want to see more of Cheetah because when she when they did the final transformation, I was like, holy fuck, they're going there. Like they are going full like Cheetah transformation, and I was like, yes, this is what I want to see.
What do you mean she filled in the blanks as an actor or as the character?
Yeah, write me an essay on her backstory after seeing this movie.
Yeah.
And
So
I know
the
that's
actor,
hard
Kristen
because
Wiig,
it's what you
did
don't
some
want is
good
her to
work, yeah.
monologue about her backstory.
Mhm.
But she was an 80s trope for on page, it seemed like.
Mm.
And I do feel like, if I'm being honest, I feel like there were some. I know that's a theme that exists for men and women for sure.
Yeah,
But I feel like women identify that very strongly with, like, you know, the woman who's never looked at, the woman who's never noticed, and even by other women. Like that's the first interaction is not with men. The first interaction is with her boss who doesn't remember her name, who's a woman.
Right.
So I was like, okay, what? Go.
No. I just think it was an 80s trope. It was chosen that way. That was the kind of the world that Patty Jenkins was playing in. Because to go way back to when we were talking about it being connected to the first film, that was the whole thing I was thinking the whole time. I was like, yeah, I'm living because I love 80s films, and they sometimes don't need to explain everything. I think we all are consistent with Wonder Woman felt sidelined in this, but I do wonder how have we ever seen a character that lives through the ages like this? Because trying to connect the first film with the second one is just focusing on the character, kind of like Captain America.
It's Cap. Cap is the closest.
Yeah, is probably the closest.
Dave would probably know the best, but I think Cap.
So I think they pivoted on this one where they went, yes, the first one was definitely a Captain America kind of, associated type genre, whereas we're going to set the next episode in the 80s, and they just built those four walls around this story. And there were only, like, Chris Pine, I understand that they wanted to keep that chemistry or get that chemistry back again, but it was the only thing that kind of was grounding it, or connecting it to the first film too heavily. And I just didn't really understand what service he was.
Don't even
other
get
than
me
just being
started.
super charming and great.
Don't even get me started on the consent issues of banging your boyfriend possessing another body.
And that guy has a soul because he's still he's another person.
It's like
right?
you've just possessed someone. Where is that guy now?
Well, that's the short film in between this.
He's on the Hallmark Channel just about every night.
Yeah, when she bangs the Hallmark guy in the short film in between, it's going to be interesting.
He's bummed he doesn't remember it.
Good for the Hallmark guy.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Man.
I did. I skipped through the credits and I got to the after credit scene, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a second. But I kept going, and I really, really wanted to see Cheetah come back.
Yeah,
because she's still around. And I was like, I want this character.
Hopefully, she'll be
going.
back.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave us one of those last look kind of moments, not spoiling anything, but I feel like I feel like we might see her again. I just want to make two more quick points. This is a very technical thing, but again, it kind of made me think about what was happening in your post-production, this whole Warner Brothers announcement. I'm not sure when this film was finished. Hans Zimmer wrote the score to this movie.
He was working hard, man. He was working real hard.
It was a great score.
Is this guy in film?
Was it?
I don't know. It was a great score, man. And obviously Hans Zimmer is incredible. And I feel like so I'm not blaming Hans. The sound editing was strange. And not to call it out, but I'm sorry, Patty Jenkins, they used a temp track. It's called Sunshine. It was originally used in the movie Sunshine by Danny Boyle, that Cillian Murphy sci-fi movie from 2007. When she rides the lightning, that is a temp track. That is not a Hans Zimmer original. And they just left it in, which I know personally from listening to Hans Zimmer's masterclasses and interviews. He hates it when they mix temp tracks anyway. He likes to write original music. Damn. So I thought that was kind of strange. That weirded me out because it's a very popular track. It's so that kind of bothered me. And also, I think there is. I know we can't compare everything to the best there's ever been, but another DC movie, the second movie, if Dark Knight. Two villains. So I kept thinking about Dark Knight. Like, it seems like the Abacus that we should kind of measure it against.
Work out as well as the other ones, though.
One of them didn't. But I'm going to be talking about Bruce Wayne in Batman, why is there a successful through line of the character of Bruce Wayne and Batman throughout those movies? Whether or not you like the third movie, there is some kind of interesting progression. And I think it's very delicate in the second one. The second movie in a trilogy, the protagonist in a superhero story isn't going to be at the front of the story. They're not going to have the brightest light shined on them. So you have to be delicate with your breadcrumbs. And I think there were just some very subtle issues that came up in this movie for me that took it just a little bit off track, which I still feel like came down to the editing. I don't even blame Patty or any of them for the way that they shot it and made it. I bet the original script was in fine shape. There was just some calibrating that kind of happened in post-production, that there were too many moments, like you guys have already said, that took me out of it, where I was either like, I need to keep going, or that felt forced, or why am I watching her do this? Why did it take her so long how to figure out how to do this or to do that? Or why was that so easy? And it just made me, very simply, it made me think about Wonder Woman. I should not be thinking about her. I should just be watching her do her thing. And I don't know, I was a little distracted a few times.
I will wait. I'll say one thing. Insane. Like, I saw this once. I saw it the day after Christmas in my living room. When cinemas open, when this gets a rescreen, are we going to see it in IMAX? Because half of this, like a lot of sections of this was shot in IMAX, and I want to see it in the format it was intended for. And I feel like,
absolutely.
I feel like the fact that they dropped it on Christmas Day when everyone's watching it with half their family there, as Jack mentioned earlier, people are talking through the movie, people are knocking on the door. You know, it's like you're not sitting there having that experience. Like, that, not everyone in your family is going to be into Wonder Woman. I feel like that might have been responsible for half of the nitpicking for this. So, like, I am going to give it a rewatch. I'm definitely going to go and see it when it comes out at the cinema and see it in the format it was intended for.
It needs to be an immersion experience.
Yeah.
You need to be,
And if I'm being honest, you guys, I wish I'm alone here. I just want to call it out. We're five guys talking about it. I wish I could have seen this with a theater full of fucking girls and women. Like, it's awesome getting to watch these women kicking ass. That opening scene was fucking incredible. And I was sitting here alone watching it. So I do think I missed out on that group experience of watching,
I don't know if I'd
especially
wish
young women and girls.
I
look up to that.
Wife and oh, that didn't go so well.
She shat all over it.
Yes.
he might get his ass kicked if he's in a theater with a bunch of women.
Dude, my mom was on the same page with me. She would be like, "Oh, she is Supergirl." Like, doesn't Spider-Man? Isn't that? I've seen that in the Spider-Man movie. Like, my mom was totally on board with that kind of stuff. That's where her head was.
Yeah.
So again,
It's
but
pretty-
I
That's
think
what Jeff
means that
got always
Diana, not so much. But Wonder Woman, give us the powers. Those powers are so awesome. Let's see them.
I mean, no, I did
Do you
like
think
that
there was-
she lost the powers and had to sacrifice in order to get them. Like, there was this whole thing, this whole lesson that we learned
That's
through it, and it was a development.
great.
Yeah,
That's great.
that was great. It just took,
one
there was
thing
some-
on
Wait.
One thing
Jeff,
on the
go
losing
off.
powers. Go, Jeff.
No, I
Jeff,
really
go
don't
on.
have anything. I really don't.
That's great, but it
But they
didn't
pull
work
it
for
off.
you.
The idea was there,
No.
but it just, the puzzle pieces didn't fit.
Yeah,
Sorry, Ryan.
Well,
no, it didn't fit. It was a mess.
Losing powers. That was kind of a sticking point for me. Did she lose her powers? Because she didn't really lose her powers. There was just a few little moments. I mean, as a guy, when Dave and I worked together on the Gold Coast, we had to do a DC 75th anniversary month of shows.
Oh yeah.
And the only way that I could I could write a group show of the Justice League was to have the Joker like come up with some serum suddenly that could,
Take their powers.
away.
Yeah.
It's
Nice.
only it was the easiest trope that I could go to. I'm calling myself out here. But
Good.
when it started, I was like,
I
okay,
remember those
this will be
fucking
interesting.
canisters.
Yeah, Joker serum. So I was like, when we're coming up on this, I was like, okay, let's see this. Okay, this is where we're going, and never quite got there. She's like, just starts kind of looking sick at one stage, but you're like, no, she's still knocking over tanks and showing a little bit of blood. Oh, one of them's got blood, but she's still.
I agree. I agree. I just watched Iron Man 3 recently too, which is this is a famous superhero tactic. We're going to take their powers and we're going to see the human stand up and solve this problem and figure it out for themselves, morally, ethically, and usually intellectually. They're going to, use their brain. And I do feel like they kind of tiptoed around this a little bit. Like, don't rob your protagonist of their number one obstacle. Give it to her 100,000% and let's watch her deal with it. Don't tiptoe.
I was really hoping that they just copied my show and Batman would show up and say, "I've never had any powers." Fuck you.
That's awesome. I do like the monkey's paw twist on that whole dreamstone thing. I thought that was pretty cool because you don't gain what you really want unless you're willing to give up something. And I think that
realistically, the whole theme of 2020 seems to be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish I had more time at home.
Yeah.
I have a question, though.
Jack, to bring it full circle before your question, Jack, to bring it full circle for me, that was it for me. I didn't need no one needed to use the word truth because the monkey's paw twist showed me that. Right. I didn't need anyone to comment on it at all because I was like, I know what they're going to do and I'm ready. And then they just kept talking about it. And it was just like, no, it's already happening. I can watch it.
It's okay to say once. It's okay to say it one time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. There was I mean, this could
there was a need to over-explain.
Yeah.
Rafiki says one time the past can hurt, and we get the whole movie, but he needs to say it one time. And this one,
just every scene.
I mean, in saying that though, like, when it comes out the cinemas in a re-release, when the cinemas that they take the boards down, I'm there. I want to see this in the format it was intended. I feel like a lot of people are like really going hard bagging this online, and maybe just fucking ease up a little.
Chill the fuck out, people.
Chill the fuck out,
dude. Yeah, let's celebrate it. It's a good movie. It's a big movie that came out and you actually got to see it.
It's like, hello, relax. Nothing fucking came out this year, and then suddenly you get handed a movie and all you can do is bitch about it.
It's really making people think, and they are already working on a third one. So just,
I love the way it was
for a
shot.
Third one. Yeah,
the visually it was stunning.
Very talented people worked on this movie.
I did not. I enjoyed it, but like we've been discussing, there were some holes, some plot holes, and just a few things that stood out. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't watch it again. And I definitely would like to see it in a theater in IMAX.
Yeah,
especially.
And I know you guys,
because I looked up the specs and like some of this, like literally the filming specs, they filmed it for real in IMAX. There is a full fucking IMAX plate on some of this footage.
And I know we were given, before we started the show, listeners, we were kind of giving some shit to movies over 2 hours, like longer movies, but I kind of enjoyed sitting down for a 2.5 hour movie. I haven't watched a long one in a while.
Yeah,
it was an epic. Like they made an 80s epic. I didn't know I was going to watch that, but they did it. Ryan, what were you going to ask us, dude? You're going to ask us a question.
So it keeps me up at night. Why did the son never get what he wished for?
Oh yeah, he was wishing so hard.
So hard. And he touched that leg. We saw that shot. There was lots of foreshadowing that the son was gonna.
Well, he does get the wish. He just gets it late.
He wished for him to be great.
But didn't he wish for to have his father's greatness himself? Or did I miss that?
He stopped him before that.
I think you missed that.
He stopped.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, he ripped his hand up. I think the one wish
I can sleep again, guys.
was I want you here with me.
Because
you got to see it again.
He got multiple
He was like,
wishes.
I want to be great like you, and he stopped him. He snapped away, and he's like, no.
Yeah, he pulled away before the end.
Yeah.
Of it.
But he brushed his leg. It was
Nah.
I can go to sleep at night again.
You got to have full contact. Got to have full contact with wish. It's the rule.
Right.
Maybe even some slight penetration. I don't know.
That'll happen. Every now and then that'll happen.
I will say, if anybody doesn't have HBO Max, they're doing a 7-day trial, so you can watch this movie for free.
That's where I watched it.
They're not
exactly
in the
where I
US. I
watched
believe
it.
there's no trial.
Really?
Hmm.
Well, I'm technically in the US.
Oh, okay, cool. There was talk they were going to take the trial away.
No, it's in.
Oh, that's
force.
bullshit.
I think they're desperate. Give people the trial. Come on.
They are, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, what else should we say about? I mean, I feel like we got our thoughts.
I think
out
we
there.
did a good job.
Yeah, we did.
I think we did a good job.
The flying sequences were fun. I don't know if we're leaving any meat on the bone, but
yeah. No. Do you want to take a 30-second break?
Let's take a quick break. And then we'll come back and
we'll go over the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll do our favorite.
Oh,
We're back.
We're back. Yeah.
And we're back.
We're back.
We're
Jeff,
back.
Jeff usually does this. I don't know. Jeff.
And we're
yeah.
back. No.
And we're back. Yeah. That was fun. We just
had
talked
to go
about Wonder
badly.
Woman.
We talked about Wonder Woman
Yeah.
for like 40 minutes. Unlike
glad we
the
did
2
that.
days that the fucking internet's been going on about it.
big picture, we all had some criticisms, but we all still are glad we watched it. So
Yeah.
you should go fucking watch it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, was it the perfect movie? Maybe not, but yeah, there's some fun to be had.
I mean,
I was
like all DC films, I'll be giving it a rewatch. Probably at home
For sure.
and at the theater.
Oh,
yeah, I totally
Definitely
agree
the
with what
theater.
you said about when it comes out in the theater. John Say will be in the middle row.
Do yourself a favor. It's lots of fun.
I'm so
Cool.
jealous, dude. I'm so angry. My brother, Dasan, if you're out there, he's listening. He's on the chat.
Yeah,
maybe
follow
you're
us
out there
on Twitch.
listening. He went and saw when things were still going okay. He's in the Palo Alto area, and he went and took himself to see Tenet in a nice theater. I was jealous of that.
Tenet.
God, it's been so long, dude.
We
As
got
did I.
Tenet
God damn
mention
it.
in.
Jack saw fucking Tenet. We talked about
I
it.
loved it.
Jealous
Jack
as
owns Tenet.
fuck, dude.
I bought a copy, but I do like the way that they didn't put it to streaming right away. I like the fact that they put it in theaters to give people who were comfortable going to theaters, not me right now, but
Yeah.
a chance to go see it in the way it was intended. When I saw that I could purchase a copy, I did so immediately.
That's an interesting
And,
discussion, though. Like, because he's now being blamed for what HBO tried to do, or what Warner Brothers is trying to do.
No,
It's
come
like
on.
you forced your film to go to the theaters, and it didn't take as much. So now Warner Brothers is panic dropping everything onto streaming.
But
That's
that's
It
the
still
rhetoric
made
going
lots of money, though. It still made
It's
it broke
absolute
records
bullshit.
in
Ton
certain parts
outside
of
the US,
Asia
yeah.
and Europe. Yeah,
Someone
Yeah.
had to be the canary, like Christopher Nolan, and good for Christopher Nolan for coming out and just like going for HBO Max. He
But,
was the
now-
canary in the tunnel.
But now it's all about the total picture on a film. When the film comes out, the box office gross, yes, that's how you pay for the film, quote unquote.
Mhm.
on. Yeah.
And then it goes to used to be disc, goes to streaming, and then you look at it 3 years from now, and what has it grossed? You know?
exactly.
And so I think that in the times that we live in, you have to use the pieces that you have at your disposal to get your film out there. And COVID handed streaming, the golden goose, when all of a sudden that was the way that we get our content.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it'll eventually come back to the
I'll-
theater. But
I'll tell you what.
still,
Streaming
Yeah.
TV really rose to the occasion. I'll give it a shout out. Streaming TV got really, really good. But I'm still going to be going to the theater.
of course, there's nothing that replaces the movie experience. But if you got to be stuck at home, working from home, quarantining, trying to be safe, then why shouldn't you be able to consume the content that you want to consume in the way that you can consume it and have it be quality? And I'm hoping that we're going to talk about some of our gems from this past year.
Oh,
because
yeah. That's
we
coming.
definitely are.
Okay.
You know what? Let's get started on
Let's
that.
do it.
What's
Let's do it.
what's the best thing you saw this year? Like this is
Ryan,
maybe
I kinda
hidden
wanna
gem.
start with
This is-
you.
This is like your favorite thing that you saw this year.
Ryan, I
keep
kind of
in
want to
order
start with
going?
you, just
Fine.
because you had that amazing list. I'm curious if it was something random or if it was one of the iconic movies that you had just never seen.
I have a few, and I
Yeah,
hate doing
it doesn't have to be one.
Go for it,
No,
yeah.
no. It doesn't have to
Um,
be one. Tell me some of your best that you really blew you away.
Well, honestly, top of the pile this year was Paddington 2.
All
Didn't
right.
see
That
that
was so
coming.
good. I
Did
thought
not
that was
see
a
that
joke.
coming.
Everybody said it was so
Who had
good.
Paddington 2? Paddington 2, anybody? Anybody?
Wow. Nobody
Everybody
had
said that movie was amazing, and I thought that was they were kidding. But is it
It's-
actually incredible?
That's the only reason it made my list. I still haven't seen Paddington 1, but it only made my list because people were like, this thing is the best thing ever. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, it's not. I remember Paddington from childhood. That's just like a 2-bit kind of animation that never had much story. And he in his galoshes, like in his raincoat. No, man, Paddington 2 is just epic. There's a musical number at some stage that's just filmed beautifully. Hugh Grant is incredible in it. I just don't have enough good things to say about that film. Go and watch it. That's just the biggest recommendation that I could give you. it will surprise the hell out of you. The comedy, the set pieces. Yeah, it's.
Oh, that's an
Oh, we
early
got the gush alarm.
That's
Oh my
an
gosh,
early
Ryan
gush,
gets the
dude.
gush.
I'm happy to gush on that.
With our positive film podcast, you can't gush
Hold
for
on a
too
second.
long. Otherwise, we're
I
going to
just
make you
wanna-
drink. Like,
I just want to call you out for just a second. How many amazing movies did you say you watched on that list this year? And Paddington 2 was at the top. Was it 100 and
187. Yeah.
Paddington 2 is
Paddington
the top.
You know what?
Godfather.
Good for you.
The Godfather is on that list of movies he had
No.
never seen.
I'd already seen The Godfather.
No, I'd buy that.
All right.
But yeah,
Mhm.
honestly, if you, I mean, because the one thing that's kind of I can see in my list of the ones that I really enjoyed this year is joy. Like, I like to go in for a meaty film and really get deep into the characters and the subtext and all of that. But this year, the movies that I've walked away just feeling really great about are the ones that just the Taika Waititi
Uplifting.
Yeah, uplifting and Hunt for the Wilder People and Boy are definitely on my list.
Boy, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Some
Boy,
Taika Waititi deep cuts. I mean, if you've only ever seen Jojo Rabbit or Thor Ragnarok, go back. Don't maybe miss Eagle vs Shark, but go back into some of his deeper cuts. What We Do in the Shadows, Boy, Hunt for Wilder People are just incredible. He's so great. Few others. While I'm just hijacking the podcast. You guys spoke about Ex Machina or Ex Machina, whichever way
Ex
you go.
Machina. Yep.
I fell in love with Wes Anderson again this year. I used to love The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, but Isle of Dogs was out of this world. Especially someone who lives in Tokyo, it's kind of like really meta at the moment.
I saw that last year.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
it's awesome.
Saving Mr. Banks. More American
Yes.
Graffiti.
That's a great movie, Saving Mr. Banks.
It was great.
I enjoyed
yeah.
that too. I watched that. Yeah.
Emma Thompson,
More American
she knows how to say
Graffiti.
movie.
If you've never seen, if you've seen American Graffiti, go check out the sequel. There's some just the film.
No idea that existed.
Dude,
Now, you
neither
said
did
you
I.
like Grease too. You said you like Grease too. So is
He
this
did.
is this a
And last two was Nightcrawler and
Yeah, it's going down.
Nightcrawler? Yep.
Nightcrawler was
Nightcrawler.
brilliant.
That's a good movie.
And then
Yeah.
if you haven't seen it on Christmas Day, Soul, man, that
Yeah, that's
I haven't
on my
watched it
list.
yet. Yeah. I'm excited to watch that one.
I
yeah.
watched
Yeah.
almost all of it. I have to finish it after this podcast. I watched an hour out of the hour 40 so far.
Dude,
Yeah,
have you
yeah.
seen the article on how they did the piano playing?
yeah.
No,
on
but he's
John Baptiste.
I play and I'm not as good as him,
No,
but
they-
he is playing the correct notes.
Yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
wrote an algorithm, an AI algorithm that interpreted the music and put animated his fingers in the right
Why do I
place.
practice? Why I practiced
Jesus
today. Like why did I
Christ.
practice?
But
Yeah.
they filmed John Baptiste's hands as well from all different angles to make it
You
legit.
could honestly you
Wow.
could tell it's John, man. You could tell it's John.
Really?
Man, just the music juxtaposition in that film alone with Atticus
I
Ross.
wish there was more, to be honest. This is my only knock at the film so far is they set up the music so much and then he loses his soul and has to go get it. And I was like, I wasn't quite done with the jazz yet. I just want a little bit more. And I know it's
Yeah.
gonna come back, but
Yeah.
I was like, don't leave it. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely up there, and crazy that it's being given away on that streaming service without a premium.
Well, after Mulan, the $30, and everybody's like, fuck you. They were like, we could charge $10. And they were like, just fucking give them the movie.
Dude, it's
Give them
free
the
now,
movie,
and I
dude.
still haven't fucking seen it.
yeah,
That's a good list, dude. I made a little note of those 4 or 5. I haven't seen 3 of those.
Got no
Need to
Mushu.
give it
I'm
a
not
shot.
interested.
get on Paddington 2.
I know.
gotta
I know.
check it
It's
out.
It's not even from this year.
in the
It's from
zeitgeist,
2017.
dude.
No, none of
Hugh
those.
Grant?
Only Soul is from this year. The rest,
Yeah.
I mean,
Isn't Hugh Grant? Isn't Hugh Grant in it?
yeah,
Mhm.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so good in it. He's so good.
All right, Jack. Hit us, dude. 1, 2, 3, however many. What rocked you this year, dude?
Hands down, my best movie of the year was Tenet.
Fuck yeah.
Loved it.
Yes.
Yeah, I just
Good.
loved
Tenet.
it.
That's
I loved
awesome.
Let's talk
We hit our
about-
tenant quota at the hour and a half mark.
I haven't talked about it.
I just love his movies. Interstellar, we talked about earlier.
Mhm.
Inception. I can't tell you how many times I've watched that movie. So I got excited about it.
Which side of the argument do you fall on in Inception?
He likes it.
About
Oh, did
whether,
you think
whether he was out or in?
Oh,
I think he was in. That's
Me
the way
too.
I took it. Yeah, I think he was in.
For
They
sure.
gave you
Yeah.
they gave you a 50-50 shot, and everything else about that movie was very deep and opposite of what you
Like
thought it
there's
should
this,
be.
there's this
So
really like this really compelling argument about like if you watch it in the credits, you hear the top fall over, which means he's out.
Oh wow.
But the
maybe
top,
I didn't watch it long enough.
no. But like my argument is the top wasn't his totem.
It was
Right.
hers.
Yeah,
It was hers. That's
so it
right.
doesn't matter if it fell over or not.
And you don't see his kids' faces in that last sequence. So
Also, go
Right.
fuck yourself. The top was
Anyway.
gonna fall over. All right, that was reality. If it wasn't reality, then fuck the whole movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean,
That's where I am.
what a
Inception.
chef's kiss. Tenet.
Yeah,
Film my dreams and have fun. That's what Inception is. If
Yeah.
it's not reality at the end.
I've always liked movies that really make you sit there with your mouth open going, whoa. And Tenet was
Yeah.
like that for me. And I've seen a lot of movies since February, March. And for that one, just last week when I bought it and watched it, to hit me like that, it's just
That's awesome.
real
Christopher
strong.
Nolan hit you.
He did. The worst movie I
would
saw
not be
this year
surprised. Oh, yep.
was a movie called Breach. Have you seen it? Have you
No.
heard of it?
No.
Don't bother.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or will Bruce Willis, is he going for quantity over quality?
Is he slipping into the
That's
the
two.
Nick Cage thing? The Nicolas Cage scenario?
Yeah, it's like it's just out now for rental on iTunes. I don't know what it was made in 2020, but exactly when it was made, I hadn't heard of it until I was looking for something and I just came across it. And it takes place on a spaceship, and it's basically zombies in space. It's just fucking hard.
Oh, so
Jesus.
it's like Jason
And Bruce Willis is in this?
Jack, that
Yeah.
drink notification is staying there until you drink.
Oh.
Yeah, you have to drink your wine, dude. Reach.
What else?
Best gems that I found of The Night Clerk.
Wait. We'll come back.
We'll come back. We'll come back.
Oh, we know that. Okay.
let's
All right.
finish
I'm
this.
sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. Jeff. Well, yeah. Did you have any other standout best ofs this year? Just the best.
I really liked Underwater.
Yeah.
yes.
Kristen
Kristen
Stewart and
Surprising.
I saw that in the theater. I had a fun time.
It was just a good. I call it a popcorn movie when you just have fun
Yes.
watching it and you don't try to break it down too much or get too crazy with analyzing it. It was just.
Yeah.
It was just.
No,
a
that
good
movie
story.
required a big spliff and a big bag of popcorn. That was the medicine.
Not
for that.
necessarily
I had a
in
good
that
time.
order. Yes.
No. I had
Right.
fun. TJ, what's
Yeah.
his name? TJ, the comedian,
Uh,
the dude who's in it. He was in
What is
Silicon Valley. Remember the one who left
Deadpool.
the show?
I can't think of his last
He was
name.
in
Yeah,
Deadpool.
Deadpool. Anyway,
Yeah.
he's funny in the movie.
I know you're
Not
talking
Hooker, not Dillashaw. Yeah.
about- Right.
Yeah.
Jeff, what was the best thing you saw this year?
I'm gonna do a
Things,
list
whatever.
too. So the best movies that I saw this year for the first time. Well, we saw Portrait of a Lady on Fire in theaters in February or so, and that knocked me out. I saw it with Chloe in a packed theater
Jeff,
in New York.
stop, like it's your turn to steal my shit.
It's mine too, you guys. It's mine too. Let's
Yeah.
just say it. It's mine
Yeah.
too. That's
As
the
far as
best thing
movies that I saw
year.
this, because I was thinking, because I remember when we did the Invisible Man and then the Ben Affleck movie podcast, and then everything shut down, and we were like, "Oh my god, are these going to be the two best movies of this year?" Because nothing else is going to come out. You're like, and they're both fine films; they're not that bad, but like,
Well, one of them is.
Come on.
I guess The Five Bloods is up there, but I think I prefer Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which I saw last week, probably for like my 2020 films. And then I'm not yet done with Soul, which they need to give me some more jazz before this movie ends if it's going to compete with Ma Rainey, because he starts playing jazz in the first 3 minutes and I'm like, holy shit, I'm in.
It's coming.
And then he loses his body and I go, no, no, come on.
Jeff, stand up in
Damn
the living
it.
room. No,
Yes.
no.
I don't want to see the little blue
distantly
ball
related to that
complaining
Star
about not
Wars
being
guy.
able to play jazz.
It's
It's
coming.
all of us. We need to see you play jazz. So that's where I'm at with Soul. But again, I'm not done with it yet. So we'll see.
Mhm. It's
The
coming.
best movie in general, because we saw a lot because we did this franchise thing. So we
Yeah.
saw a lot of them. I still think Do the Right Thing's the best movie that I saw this year. That I'd never seen it.
God.
I had never seen it start to finish because it was always on TV and I would start watching it. But especially when like the end, the Radio Raheem thing happens and then the protest, if you will. Like very rarely did I start at the beginning and carry it all the way through to the end. If I had ever done that before, and that movie was probably that's just, I mean, if that's one of the great movies truly of all time, especially as far as importance and all the other, any kind of category you want to come up with it. But I think that's probably just the best movie I saw this year. Do the Right Thing.
Shout out to Do the Right Thing. Just very quickly, I just listened to a podcast with the producer on Do the Right Thing, John Killick. And it was just amazing. It's everything you've ever thought. It's like Spike's big first one. They took so many budget hits. They did not get the actors they wanted. They ended up having to do it in one location on that one block. He changed the script. They did everything that you think they would. That is not the movie they wanted to make, and yet it turned out to be a fucking masterpiece.
They wanted a
So
De Niro
glad we got
movie.
to bring it back.
He can definitely
So-
adapt.
When you guys did that on the podcast, it's on my list, but I bumped it way down because I was like, I need to walk away from the podcast and forget everything that you guys just said.
Yeah, I
so
understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll live up
but
to it. I promise. It will
Okay,
live up to
Especially
it.
post George Floyd and all. Like, holy
Yeah,
shit,
dude.
we watched it like right after all
Yeah.
the mass
Dude, I got
protests.
so fucking mad.
Mhm.
Well, and then
Yeah.
because then when it happens, and then like all of a sudden you're like, wait, is this what the movie's about? Is everybody protesting this? That's what, you know, when I saw it as a teenager, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, that's what happened to this movie. I thought this movie was about the neighborhood. And then when you watch it post George Floyd, you're like, get the fuck up in the streets. Like, I can't believe they're not lighting shit on fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's God, what a
Yeah.
360. And I think, John,
It's a
you made the most
must-watch.
profound point of the entire year, which is like, you've seen this movie a million times, and like, is it shame on me or is it kudos to the filmmaker when the longer it goes, the more relevant it becomes? And is that's not even a good thing in this
Jesus.
case? You know, in a way, that's
Yeah.
a bad thing in this case. And it's like, Jesus, what kind
Yeah.
of movies can have that kind of impact? But fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
Brilliant. Must see it. 1989. Fuck yeah. Good.
All right, I'm on it, Jeff.
Dave, what was Portrait your standout?
Portrait was one of them. The other one was Palm Springs.
Oh,
Oh,
fuck, I
well,
still haven't
that's
watched that
good.
one. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so
Still haven't
good.
seen
That
it.
was a great
It's so fucking. It's like you wouldn't think they could remake Groundhog Day with something original, but oh my god, these two are fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's a good
It's my
leg.
movie of the year.
So,
You
Dave,
had a big
I
ass,
watched
big ass smile on your face when you talked about it. Yeah, go. Sorry.
I watched Groundhog Day and Palm Springs in the same week, and I attest to that statement. It
Yeah.
was like I was like, "There's no way." I'd heard you talk about Palm Springs being great, and I was like, "There's no way." I've just watched Groundhog Day, and it like if someone's remade that, then damn. Then I watched it and was like, oh, yeah,
It lived up to it.
Yeah, they've
absolutely lived up.
yeah. That was one of
Was
my
there a favorite?
that was my best of the year. That
Like
and
Jeff, was
Portrait.
there a rewatch that like really blew you away? Like not having watched it in a long time. We just watched, a lot of these movies we had seen before, that we talked about this year. Was there a rewatch that really knocked you on your socks this time around, or? Nope. Very
I'm
good.
sure. We saw so. Hold on, I didn't. Hold on, you go first, and I'll get back to that. Okay.
All right, I'll go. For sure, Portrait. I saw that twice in theater, and I saw it again before we talked about it. Just unbelievable.
Sorry.
Celine Dion, or however
That
you
new
pronounce her
mic is
name.
working for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the mic is on
Jeff
it.
sneaky burping off the
I'm
clock.
hug- I'm
Actually,
eating the
sorry, I'm
mic
going to
there.
interrupt you for a second. Like, I just want to bring up a quick point here. Like, the hardest thing to do is to not burp on microphone when you're doing a drinking game during a show. So
Yeah.
occasionally, it gets out of the way in the like before the show.
I feel like
or
I'm going
after the show.
No,
Something
fuck
like
it.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck that
So there was one instance I have to throw to right now, and
Okay.
so basically with the we
Do you have a clip reel of our burps?
I do when we started. No,
Oh
when we started this show, doing this remotely, we started trying to sync with beeps and stuff like that, and then we figured out the only way to do it is for all of us to count to 6 to sync it up. So like I count 1, Jeff counts 2, John counts 3, and so forth, and then you get to stuff like this.
Recording yet a maximum.
All right, 1,
2,
3,
4.
5.
6. Jesus. And we're back, motherfucker.
6 and a pterodactyl.
Oh my god. 2 good intros.
Oh, that was horrific.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that happened quite a bit. Yeah. We burped a lot. I
I've been
feel like
I've been waiting for Jeff to burp this whole show so I can play that fucking clip, basically.
It's like a
Somebody
Wilhelm
wants to dig
scream.
in. They could find
Jesus.
tons of that shit.
Yeah.
My favorite rewatch. I know this might sound lame, but I just hadn't watched it in over a decade. For the same reason that Jeff just brought up with Do the Right Thing. Taxi Driver knocked me on my ass, you guys. It had been it was the perfect time to watch that movie. It just all the themes just were lifted so dramatically for me right now in this context of this year. It just blew me away. I'd forgotten. Like, you think it's just one of those that you're like, oh, The Godfather, Taxi. It's just so iconic. Just really put me on my ass. I hadn't stopped thinking about it.
That came out in an election year too, and when you know that going in, you see it in the picture that I totally missed the first 5-6 times I'd seen that. Actually, to that point,
You're
Network
talking
was
to
up
me?
there. Yeah, right.
You talking to me?
Network was up there for movies. But it's funny because I'd seen The
Rewatch,
Godfather this year, and here I am. I'm like definitely. fucking do that.
It was hard. Like when I got to I typed out the list of best thing I saw this year, and it was hard to pick two. Like I had to really brutally narrow it down. Like we watched. So
Are there
much
any
good shit
others
this year?
Are there any others that really fucking
Network
rocked
is up
you?
there. That was great.
Network is.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Don't narrow it down, Dave. I clearly narrowed it down to 9 films.
Well, I've had 3 beers and I can't remember what else we watched. I can't remember the last 5 minutes, to be honest.
Yeah, that happens to me.
All right, well let's pivot. Jack already
Boogie
kicked
Nights
us off.
2001. Like Jesus Christ, what a year.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
sorry.
watched some amazing movies. Worst thing you saw this year, Jack? Tell me one more time. What was the thing you said?
It was called Breach.
Breach.
Bruce Willis in space.
Breach. Steer
It
clear.
Why was it so bad?
I don't know. It was just
I think you explained it perfectly. Bruce Willis, space, zombies.
zombies.
I can't
Is it
remember
John
that.
McClane in space?
And
Is it
the
a Die Hard in
dialogue.
space?
No, the dialogue is just awful. I mean, he's he's such a tough guy from the first minute he speaks, and then
How can the same
it's
thing
just-
happen to the same guy in space?
yeah, it's just I don't know.
Every movie
I thought,
he's
hey,
ever
this
been in.
might be good. And then if you just scroll down Amazon Prime or Netflix, it's like Marauders, Bruce Willis, which by the way is a very good movie. Marauders, very good. But then there's First Kill, and all this stuff. It's
Okay,
Bruce Willis.
yeah. All
It's
right.
like he's like Nicolas Cage. He just does movies.
Yeah, just
constantly.
a warning. If you get to Netflix and you're scrolling down to about 4, you get what you paid for.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That algorithm breaks down after the first two.
Yeah, the algorithm gets
Yeah.
fucking vindictive after about 4 movies.
I mean,
Ryan, what was the worst? All right, just in general, tell me the worst of your year. But I'm curious if any of these amazing movies that were on your big list made the worst list.
The probably
Really?
the most amazing film. There's 3 that were like movies I should have seen by now, and then
There were
there's
3,
2.
You put up 4 figures. Yeah, so 4
There were
figures.
3.
There's at least 2 movies.
It's 11 a.m. guys.
Oh, we love you. Thank you.
2 of them were new films, but
We're gonna bail you out of the police when you're later. When you
I'm not doing anything today. I might watch Do the Right Thing, but I might not.
Yeah.
Dune was a train wreck. I can't wait.
Talking to
for
us from the
anyone-
future over there.
And you didn't tell me. I assume you did not watch the plus 4 hour director's cut, because that's a little better than the original theatrical.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
is it?
No,
though?
it was a
Does he
mess.
skip
You're
the whole
talking
thing?
about Kyle MacLachlan Dune, right?
Yes. David Lynch's Dune. Yeah,
Okay.
not
David
good.
Lynch's, yeah.
Yeah, David,
we're not
I'm
that far in the
fucking
future.
happy unless you have 4 hours of pain, Lynch. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was. It
Fuck
was
you,
a
Dave.
mess. The other great old films that weren't
It's
so
not
great.
an episode until John's told me to get fucked.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, go fuck yourself at least once. 2020.
Popeye was just.
Oh,
Yeah, it looked great,
I'm
and it
buzzing
was
with
it was in the first week of films. Like, it was one of the first cabs off the rank, and I was like, oh man, I love everybody in this, but it was, and I love the way it looked, but it was just terrible.
Apparently, that village still exists. It's like a theme park
Yeah.
now.
It's like a theme park, yeah.
Yeah.
is that fucking who directed
Robin
that?
Williams.
Isn't that fucking yeah?
Yeah.
No, who directed?
direct
It's
it.
It's Robert Altman directed.
Yeah, it was Robert Altman. Yeah,
What?
yeah.
And Hans
Yeah.
Zimmer did the soundtrack. No, I can't back that up. Sorry.
And
Didn't
look,
live up,
Shelley Duvall was like the
Olive- yeah.
best
Yeah.
casting
Olive
of
oil,
olive
dude.
oil
Yeah.
ever. But it was horrific, and the musical numbers. Oh my god! Like if you want to torture your cat, that just play.
Dave.
Torture your cat.
Jesus.
What else? What else? What else? Give me some more.
So I went back
How to
into
torture your cat. That should be a good name for our new, like the second podcast spin-off that we had.
How to Torture Your Cat. So I went back into some of the John Hughes deep cuts, and honestly,
Yes.
16 Candles is reprehensible by today's standards.
Yeah. I'm not even buzzing that. He's
There was
right.
No, I
Nothing-
started it and I couldn't make it through recently.
That's the
yeah.
one
Oh,
with
man.
Duck Dong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dong, the underwear.
Chinese
the
bride.
Duck
underwear.
Dong. Yeah.
Yeah, he's Chinese,
Holding up
but
her
jumps out of
underwear
a
to the
tree.
Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking
Not,
reprehensible.
not cool.
He's
Yeah.
Chinese, but Japanese. It's very strange. And nothing in that film I was like, oh man, I'm supposed to love this because like I'm from the John Hughes generation, but holy crap.
Yeah.
And then the two new films that I absolutely hated was Eurovision and Capone. Just have nothing. Eurovision, maybe the songs was good, but yeah, that was it.
Capone is Tom Hardy.
Tom,
Yeah.
oh, man, I wish it wasn't Tom Hardy. It
Tom
was
Hardy once
awful.
again thinking this role is going to be his breakout.
Dude.
So many since Star Trek.
I think he broke out.
Episode
but
10.
Are we putting him back in?
He broke out.
Are we
Yeah.
putting him back in?
Yeah, if you have
back
two,
in your case, Tom
if
Hardy.
you have two on the worst list, yeah, you're back in, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Someone gave Josh Trank like the permission to write a film about Al Capone in his last year of life when he's just falling to pieces, and the film just.
I'm
fell
sorry.
to
After
pieces.
Fantastic Four, how is Josh Trank still getting fucking work?
No idea. It was
Yeah,
awful.
Isn't Fantastic Four on the list for Disney? Are they trying to redo it with the series? Or
Yeah,
something?
it's,
Yeah,
a,
they are,
it's a
yeah.
Marvel Fantastic Four.
Because
though,
they're
so-
like
Let it
third
go,
time's a
dude.
charm.
Let it go.
This
No,
is a
wait,
good
dude.
no,
comic.
no,
I
Marvel
swear
has
it's
it
a good
now.
comic.
Stop.
Marvel has it now.
No.
Keep
No,
doing
I've
it.
seen
Get
enough
it
Fantastic
right.
You want this. This is what we've been waiting for.
I don't.
They want a
I-
series.
no one is
so
waiting.
they
I don't
can
think
give
we-
us the
we
four
don't
different
want it.
backstories.
No,
Yeah, it needs to be a series.
I mean, and we've already started trying to cast it on Twitter. Have you seen iZombie?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, you watch iZombie. The guy who plays the chief medical examiner in that is like, we want him for Mr. Fantastic.
Right.
All right. See,
Got it.
it's just all right. I'm glad you have your Twitter community because the rest of us don't fucking care if that show
No,
gets made.
None of us are pining for a guy from iZombie.
Bruce
You know what?
Willis.
Fuck you all. I got a buzzer.
Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis has got to sneak in there.
He's
So-
He's Mr. Fantastic.
There you go. Jeff, what was the worst thing? We saw
Well,
a bunch of shit this year.
I know I spoon fed Dave for some in case he wanted to come
We
up with
did.
some clips. Wait, Dave, did you just make all of us drink?
I
Yeah,
did.
I did.
Yes.
I think it just said everybody.
Yeah,
we
I
need to
was like, fuck is
reset. Everybody take a drink. Okay. You know what the honest to God truth is? The honest to God truth is the worst thing I saw was in our first episode, which is Cats. It was the worst I saw maybe in my entire life. And I'll tell you why. Well, because here's the problem with it. So the whole point of
you're
our
trained.
redemption segment is that we're drunk by the end of the episode. So then we say fun things that happen in the movie that are bad, and you know, we get buzzed every time because we're supposed to be positive and we can't help ourselves and yada yada yada. Cats. Okay, let's just put it this way. I was in Chloe's family. She just had a niece that's 3 months old, and then we go into Syracuse. The family comes, and everybody had been quarantining, and we're just at night, and it's like, well, what are we gonna watch? And the family just wanted to put something stupid on to laugh at because they didn't actually expect to stay up for a whole movie. And they chose Cats, and I said, please don't do this. I'm gonna tell you why. It's not even funny bad. It's not fun bad. I promise you, it's 20 minutes in, you're
Just
gonna think
bad.
it's an hour and a half in. And we put the movie on, and we didn't even make it to the cockroaches, because the cockroaches we could sell. We can make the cockroaches tap dancing sell. We didn't even make it to the cockroaches, and everybody's just going. People forgot we were watching the movie, and it's not even 20 minutes in. Like, it is so boring.
You know, it's a low
bad.
point when your selling
like-
point is dancing cockroaches. When that's
Yeah.
the best you've got.
Joe's apartment did
Yeah.
it better.
That's a red flag for me,
Yeah.
by the way.
I mean, yeah. Maybe
Everybody watch
So,
Joe's apartment. Joe's apartment's awesome.
It should be a red flag. It should be all the red flags.
The only people who can be mad about Cats are people who saw it in theaters because you're stuck and you're just like, fuck, man, now I really have to decide. I have to sit here for an hour and decide, am I going to walk out of this movie or not? It's like, so seeing it at home, I don't know if it's possible to make it to the end. Even in our podcast, like I started getting up and like doing the dishes or something because I was like, I had enough notes for 7 podcasts, but like, it's just not even. So Cats was the worst thing I watched. But I think what I told Dave was, I can't
You told me
remember.
Speed 2.
Speed 2 is up there because we got Speed 2 is the movie that we wish we watched together until we watched it.
Yeah,
and then we
I
were
had a little more fun watching Speed 2
I mean,
than I had watching Cats.
To
Not
clarify,
much.
this was said about Speed 2.
It's great. I would advise everyone to stick with it because it takes at least half an hour to suck completely.
Yes, exactly. I wrote down one of my notes right here is minutes 10 through 30 were fine. Not great, but definitely not terrible. They were leading to an inciting incident. They laid on maybe a little thick, but we get what's going on. The two of them are in love, I guess. He's going to try to propose to her on the boat. Willem Dafoe is a hacker who wants to hack the system of the boat. And we get
Willem
it.
Dafoe.
It's pretty simple. The lines are stupid, but like I'm on board. For 10 to 30 is totally fine. Those 20 minutes and then that 10 minutes where the cruise ship is crashing into the land, 10 full minutes, that is
10
great.
full minutes.
I'm totally fine with that. The other hour and 40 minutes, it was the Titanic, but after it sunk, if they only filmed after everybody had died.
That last line. Yes. Yeah.
That sums up the movie
Brilliant.
perfectly.
Oh, that is so true. Well done. Well
Was that
done.
the one with Jason Patrick and the
Yeah.
Keanu
Oh,
Reeves?
yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
because
It's
Keanu
just so
had
fun. And then
sense
at the
to,
end,
like-
when it ends and
yeah.
you're like, wait a second, what? This wasn't even like they actually, I can't even explain it. I can't even go back.
That was
into
the
it.
first movie where the three of us started talking about maybe we should start suggesting a drinking game for our redemption movies.
Yes, it was.
Because we were pining to try to like,
All right,
oh God, I wish we
gotta-
could have watched
gotta
that
pee.
together.
Nobody say anything negative.
Dude, I'm about to explode too. I have to
Hey.
piss my pants. I will go next.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not going to go next because I want Dave to be here because I'm going to call out one of his movies for my worst movie. So I want him to be here so I can really rub it in his fucking face.
All right,
I
let's
still-
come up with another. I can come up with another gimmick because I have this on my phone. Oh no! I turned my phone volume down. For like, why? Here,
You ready to make us drink? Is that
What was
it?
it? Okay, wait.
Power?
on the spot. What was your least favorite movie line that you heard? Do you know what I mean? Is there like a line from a movie where you're like,
Lord,
ugh?
dude.
Is that too specific?
God almighty,
Yeah.
that is super specific. Yeah. that is
I'm
so
terrible.
specific.
I love people who can quote films after they've seen it once.
okay.
I am not that person.
Okay.
It sounds like you have one though. I think you have one ready to go.
Please
Lock
share
yours.
yours because I am drawing a blank.
Okay. Pass. Okay, I pass. Okay. What was the worst good movie that you'd seen? No, we can't do that because we're a positive film podcast. Did we already say did we do this one? I forget if Dave
No,
wanted
we
to
can do
this
that. We can do that.
We
The
can do-
worst good movie. That's good. That's fun. Probably Godfather 3. That is
That's my answer. That's my answer too.
always
I just
disappointing.
recreated a scene from Austin Powers. All
Oh
right.
god.
I can
Now
tell
I'm
you-
gonna piss my pants. Play the same game with Dave. I'll be right back.
What did
Dave,
what
our
just
theme
happened
is
with John?
what is the even though this is a positive film criticism podcast, what was your least favorite good movie that you saw this year? Like a consensus good movie that you're like, damn it.
Oh, okay, I misunderstood the question.
Mine was Godfather.
Oh wow.
I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Irish your camera.
Hold on, wait. Did I ask two different questions? Okay, so you have two options here. What was your least favorite good movie, or what was your? I forget the way I phrased it before. So this is
Most
what happens at our
favorite bad
podcast.
movie.
Your favorite.
What I heard was your most favorite bad movie.
Oh, okay, that's a
That's
good
what
one
I
too.
heard.
Okay, I like
Yeah.
that one better.
Fantasy Island for me.
That's for me.
Fantasy
Oh,
Island.
that's
I,
good.
good.
That's good.
I'll have to agree with him on that. I
Fantasy
really
Island.
liked Fantasy Island.
I enjoyed it, but it wasn't supposed to be enjoyable.
Everybody hated
So,
it, but I want to see more of
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Blumhouse, is it Blumhouse or Bloomhouse?
It was Blumhouse. I say Blumhouse.
Blumhouse. Yeah.
Did John cover his least favorite movie while I was gone?
No, he didn't because he wanted to wait till you got back. So.
Ah,
And now he's gone.
yes.
Least
John
favorite-
is very dependent on you, Dave. Just so you know, he's very dependent on you.
Well, he knows I have
Least
a
favorite
clip.
good movie. Least favorite good movie was an interesting conundrum.
Hmm?
12 Monkeys was I
Ah.
didn't enjoy that at all, and it's like my brother's favorite
Have
film.
you seen the TV series?
No, you told
Yeah,
me.
have a look at the
You know, it
TV
stars Bruce Willis.
It
Yeah.
stars
to
Bruce
pause,
Willis.
not to pause this conversation, but I have
Okay.
to get one more in for 2020. Dave, did you say your least favorite good movie of the year was The Godfather?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself, dude. That is
Absolutely.
unbelievable,
I thought you went,
dude. What
went off the bat
fuck?
for it after you had seen it. I couldn't remember.
That is insane. I said my least favorite good movie was Godfather 3. You said Godfather 1?
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
What is what?
It's my
You heard it
least,
here,
it's
folks.
my
This
least
guy-
favorite movie that everybody loves.
This might be the podcast breaking up right here.
Oh, we've had worse arguments than this.
Godfather
this is
1 is
nothing.
going to be
Case
our
in,
Yoko.
case in point, listen to this.
Because like we've got Toy Story, who like redefined animation for an entire new generation. It created an entire new genre of movies,
Yeah.
and introduced all this wonderful technology and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you got John Wick, which is violent and has some of the best stunt work I've seen in years, and you know all this really imaginative filmmaking and that sort of thing. And you fuck knuckles put it in the same bracket. These two movies have no fucking business being the same fucking
We did
bracket,
this
you
on
fuck
purpose.
knuckles.
We did this on purpose. We have Die Hard against Harry Potter coming up. We
Nice.
So yeah, we don't always get along, but we always drink the beer at the end.
That was a
John Wick
PG
versus Toy
fight.
Story. Damn.
Yeah,
Damn.
that was
fucking
what
champion.
that was the X's comment from the positivity montage, because I refused to put either one of them through and advance both of them and fucked up our entire bracket.
Yeah, you did throw the
Clever.
wrench in there, didn't
Yeah,
you?
I
All right,
absolutely-
Yeah,
Dave,
but
what
there were
is
no
your-
more wrenches after that.
Yeah.
No more.
No,
Like,
no,
no more
Dave-
wrenches.
I was on an wrench.
What's the worst movie you saw this year? If you say The Godfather, I'm signing off.
No,
I can't.
absolutely not. The Godfather was not the worst movie I saw this year. The Godfather was the one that I was like, meh, because everyone's like, this is the best movie ever, and I was
Sure,
like, meh,
sure.
okay, yeah, it wasn't really.
So what's
for me.
the worst?
Stay hungry.
Oh, sure, big surprise. Yeah,
Yeah. Stay
you
hungry.
were very
is
upset.
The worst
I don't know if you have.
fucking movie. Yeah, no, okay. You want to hear it? You want to hear it? This is my reaction to Stay Hungry.
You were upset. Yeah,
When
sure.
you get to an hour and 15, I'm serious, and I've never said this before on this podcast, turn this off. Just turn
What
it
part
off.
is that?
That's just before they take the two women back to the
That was super
that-
awkward.
Like it had no point being in the movie. It was ridiculously overtly sexual. It was exploitive. It was like
Yeah.
it was offensive. This whole
I actually
fucking
have no
movie,
idea what that-
on some level or another, at all ways through, is fucking offensive.
Yeah, I was pissed, man.
Yeah.
That movie was fucking horrible.
How did I
It
miss
was
this
bad.
movie?
Like,
I've never-
it's
there's
a,
another
it's a
comment I
Bob
didn't.
Rafelson.
Yeah, there's another comment I didn't grab, which was like, let's just let it die as a relic of the 70s.
You were
that
upset,
it is.
yeah.
I was.
I remember
Yeah,
you were
and you know who
angry.
didn't let it die? Us with our movie podcast. We could have let it die, and we decided
Jack,
to
this is
air it.
a
I'm pretty sure
This is a
50
Bob
people watched
Raffles-
it because I was so pissed off.
it's a Bob Rafelson movie. He made it after 5 Easy Pieces. It's the first Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, and it has
one
Sally
he speaks.
Fields and
Oh,
Jeff Bridges
I
in it.
remember.
yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, and
Dave hated it.
Robert England is in it as well.
and Robert England. Yeah.
that's awesome.
Okay,
I'm not gonna watch it.
the worst thing I saw this year.
You heard it
The
here.
worst thing I saw this year, and it beat out The Cable Guy, which if y'all remember correctly, I hated that movie.
Hated. Yeah.
The worst movie I saw this year, which might be the third worst movie I've ever seen, was Drop Dead Fred. Fuck you for making me watch that movie.
Dave. I thought about it.
I didn't.
Wow,
I
I
didn't
hated
hear
that
that.
movie.
I didn't hear that redemption
You didn't?
episode yet.
Oh, dude, listen to that one. It's fucking hilarious.
Wow, I've got
Drop
such
Dead Fred
fond
album
memories
because,
of that.
Because yeah, me too. And it was a number one hit in the Australia and New Zealand and the UK, but America did not take to it at all.
But hey,
Didn't.
dude,
I might have done it to it on purpose.
Is Rick Mail like a thing in America?
No, not at
No,
all.
he's not. He almost
No.
made me want to become a Republican so that I could
Sure.
make sure
Oh,
you guys, just can't.
So that's- yeah.
No,
That's
it's
right
okay,
right
John. He's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, so dark. So let's pour one out for Rick Mail. He tried his hardest. I'm sorry.
I mean, you said you're a Republican. They're fine with that. So
Yeah. If you're not a fan of
boy,
Bottom,
boy.
if you're not a fan of Bottom or the young ones, I can totally
I didn't like
understand.
that.
yeah, no,
We have two more superlative things here. Hidden gem of a movie you found this year on streaming because you couldn't go outside.
I make
So
very
these are
long
basically.
titles.
I'm assuming you're meaning like something that isn't a super popular movie, not a rewatch, like a straight to streaming.
No, it's something that
Netflix
you
kind
were
of thing,
flicking
or-
through and found, and you were like, "Oh fuck, this is really good."
Does anybody have one?
I have.
Yep.
Does
two.
anybody have a hot? Yeah, Jack, hit me, Jack.
The Night Clerk. Did you see that?
Oh, is
No.
that a series?
No, it was a movie about the this autistic guy who was the clerk at a motel, and he witnessed a murder, and it was really
Cool.
good. You should watch it. It's
Cool.
on Netflix. Yeah.
It's going on the list.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask Netflix. There it is. Yeah, we're all adding it to our list. right
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what this
And
segment's for.
the other one was Spencer Confidential with Mark Wahlberg and Post Malone. It's
Yeah.
really good. It's really.
It's got to
well
be an
done.
action movie if Post
It
Malone
is.
And,
is supporting.
And Alan Arkin is in it too.
Oh,
Very
geez.
good. Yeah,
Is it an
Yeah.
action movie?
it is. It's about an ex.
Surprisingly,
Yeah. It's about an
What's
ex-cop who goes to prison, and then he.
Surprising.
Yeah.
So say,
and
what's
Mark
the
Wahlberg.
what's the F bomb
I
count
think-
from Alan Arkin?
Oh. Oh.
Jack,
It's
I think
priceless.
Jack, I think an ex-con that goes to prison is a con.
Oh, that's right. An ex-cop. He's an ex-cop.
Ex-cop.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ex-cop.
So they're
who
trying
goes
to
prison.
they're trying to kill him for sure. And there is no
Yeah.
doubt in my mind Post Malone is already a convict. He is not.
Yes,
an
he is.
ex-cop.
He is.
That man-
Hey, when you got face tattoos, it typecasts you.
That guy has been in prison for years.
Yeah. But it's
Oh, yeah.
really
Brian?
good. It's funny and it's got a lot of action in it. And yeah, you would enjoy it. Spencer
Nice.
Confident.
Nice.
Brian, what do you got, dude? Did you have any gems?
Dude, mine was only a couple of weeks ago, and what a topical film for this year. Perfect Sense. It stars
I remember
Ewan
this.
McGregor and Eva Green, and how this film just sort of crept under the radar.
Never even heard of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Me neither.
And I hadn't either. It was a recommendation on the list, and it's definitely one of those gems that you go, holy shit! There's a pandemic that is slowly going through England and the rest of the world, and one by one it's kind of taking away the senses. So it kind of starts with like taste, and they do this interesting thing where they pair the symptoms of it. Is you have a moment of absolute terror. I can't remember what the first one was, but you have a moment of like uncontrollable anxiety and terror, and then after that goes away, that initial episode, you then realize you can't taste, and it kind of takes away each sense bit by bit. And I won't ruin the film, but it's done really beautifully and kind of shows the world getting on with life after they learn to live with it. But
Nice, dude.
in all this, it's a love story. So it's just
Yeah.
it's a gem of a
I'm
film.
reading about it right now. Jeff, have you ever heard of this? Perfect Sense, the
Wow.
David
I lo-
McKenzie
I
film,
love it, like,
2011,
never
Ewan
heard of it,
McGregor.
The marketing people for this have gone, oh, we don't want to talk about this film during this year. And the stand just went, fuck it, we're going all in.
Stephen King was like,
Yeah.
let me get my dick out and just make sure this thing.
Stephen King's like, "Ah."
Thank you for bringing that to my
I
attention.
hope he
Dude,
sees
it's
that
great.
clip. I hope he sees it.
Perfect Sense is is directed by David McKenzie, who made Hell or High Water, which I was a huge fan of. I really liked that movie.
Yeah,
I think
it's-
I win the pool. John mentioned his dick at 2 hours, 37 minutes. I'm pretty sure I get the money, right?
Oh no! every $5 in an envelope.
Oh, I held off so long until I mentioned it.
You held
Oh
up.
my God.
No, not touching that.
There, oh yeah.
I will say, I think one of the things about Perfect Sense that is worth mentioning is I don't know how big Contagion was. I remember it, and I know Outbreak was big sort of back then.
Uh-huh.
But I will say I don't think
Outbreak,
pandemic
yeah.
films really hit the mainstream. I think they kind of people go, oh yeah, worldwide disease.
Yeah,
and kind
they
of write
were
it
on
off.
the like it's like the pandemic equivalent of the Hallmark Channel.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you watch it now, you're like, holy shit. I watched
Yeah.
Contagion here, and that was an experience.
It was good.
I
The
watched
Drum of the Strain. Read the
Contagion
book.
at the
Drum of
beginning of
Strain.
March. Like I watched
Yeah.
both of them back to back. Like as soon as it hit New
Yeah.
York, I was like, boom. I just dove into all the outbreak stuff.
And it's crazy all the
What
words that
happened to her?
we didn't think. Yeah, patient one, but like the
What
R
happened to her?
number, social distancing, all these things that we said. I don't
Fucking
think that's part of
batshit,
my-
dude. Batshit crazy. This year is literally batshit crazy. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
It's
I'm
funny
literally adding
you
it to my
mentioned bats
list.
because
Yeah.
the one clip that I cut from tonight's show was the opening of episode 2.
I definitely talked about the bats, right? We
yeah,
said,
we opened
what
it
did I
with
forget
that's
what
what happens when you eat bats in China. And I was like,
Oh,
I'm
Jesus.
rolling. Hey there, film
we
fans. Yeah,
went
no,
to the cinema
We
in New York
Yeah, we went
in
there.
March.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Didn't
So
know.
what other-
Significant others
nobody
were like,
knew.
is this a bad idea?
Nobody.
What
knew
other
it
gems?
was
Because
gonna be
this is
that
a,
bad.
let's get onto the gems because this is adding to my list. I love it.
Like the hidden gems or the
The hidden
quarantine
gems.
gems?
The hidden gems.
The hidden
This is
gems.
the hidden gem. Yeah, Jeff.
From
what- did you
2020
have
or
a
the
hidden
ones
gem?
that we've seen that are hidden
It's any.
gems?
It's we're saying it's anything. It's anything that was hiding on streaming. Anything you had never seen before,
Mhm.
or something you hadn't watched in a while. I'm not gonna lie. I'll go first right now because honestly, I'm kind of ashamed. When you asked this question, I kind of had to take inventory and realize I don't think I really did discover a movie I had never heard of that didn't come out of this podcast.
Yeah, we had so much homework for this podcast.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie. I think my New Year's resolution is to take a little more chances and deep dive on streaming services because it made me realize I haven't
asking
watched
to
it.
take a
anyway.
week off so like the fifth layer of Netflix.
What was that,
I
Jeff?
got to get into the algorithm needs to start failing before I take a chance. Anyway,
Yeah.
Jeff, did you have one that you found, or are you with me?
I'm with you. I feel like, because I watch a lot of TV shows in my streaming time that weren't a part of the podcast. So,
That counts. Sure. Did anything jump out to you?
Wouldn't be a podcast if someone didn't open a beer while Jeff was talking.
I mean, I guess I wasn't actually talking, so that was pretty good. No, not that I think. I'm gonna stall. I'm gonna keep stalling.
Dave.
Dude, I got 2 that popped out at me this year. Guns Akimbo, which I mentioned before.
Yeah.
Found it. It was like amazing. And the other one, which remember I said I was going to drop a bit of a bombshell. New Mutants.
You liked it.
Yeah.
I rented New Mutants yesterday. After we watched Wonder Woman, I enjoyed New Mutants more than I enjoyed Wonder Woman.
Oh,
Is it a movie or a
damn.
show?
Really?
Yeah. And
Shit.
the reason I enjoyed it is because he has hit on the one thing that no one in the fucking franchise industry has cottoned onto yet. You can make a film about X-Men in a tiny little setting, and he's like, his idea was to make an X-Men horror film. And he picked characters that hadn't really developed, and he put them in this tiny setting, walled them in, and he's like, I'm going to make this really claustrophobic horror film where, we're not really focused on big X-Men names, that sort of thing. I'm just going to make this tiny little, almost independent film. And he fucking nailed
Was
it.
it James Gunn? Was it James Gunn?
No,
Who
it was Josh Boone.
Dave, no.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I want to see what happens when 2 Australians disagree passionately.
It's a great film. Like, as far as, like, if you...
Oh.
Well, I went in with extremely low
Right.
expectations, too, because I'd heard all
Don't
the shit.
speak. I just want you to breathe into the mic more. Go ahead.
I want
No,
more drunk
New Mutants
noises.
to me it was a gem.
All right, that's Dave's gem.
Yeah.
New Mutants. I'm adding it to my list. I'll take
Come
your
at
word
me,
for it. I'm going to
dude.
give it
Come
a
at
shot.
me.
No,
I'm gonna give it a shot,
I
'cause I thought I heard you talk shit about it earlier this year. I didn't realize you had not seen it.
Me?
Yeah, I thought
they
you did.
hadn't released it.
I'd
Like,
seen it.
this is the one that sat in
It
fucking
just
limbo for
came
4
out.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just came out.
It sat in
I
limbo
didn't-
for 4
I didn't
years.
know
It
you
got
guys-
it was made under the 20th Century Fox banner. Then it got changed. Then it got cancelled. Then it got reshot. Then it got reverted back to its original thing when Disney bought it. And or whoever, and they finally dropped it.
So
Didn't
yeah,
know.
some diamonds. Sometimes you need to squeeze the coal a little bit harder to get that diamond out. And I guess you watched the diamond, and I watched the coal because I watched that in the cinema in the UK, and that was an absolute piece of shit.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Get in there.
Oh, man.
Oh, go for it,
In
dude.
this
I'm so glad.
corner-
I'm so glad I've seen I'm so glad I've seen Glass, like Queen's Gambit, because that was,
that was
almost
great.
done for Anya Joy Taylor or Taylor
Oh,
Joy.
Joy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because what was that accent? I mean, it was just it was in development hell for years, and it should have stayed there.
Should have stayed. It was the Dante of
Dude.
superhero movies.
They said they wanted to make a horror film, and you think they made a horror film? I
No,
think
but
they made a
definitely
horror
something
bull film.
tense. Actually, while we're on this segue, because we didn't
Horror
do
bull film.
we didn't
Tense.
we didn't do what did I watch? What have I been watching this week? And this afternoon I switched on Truth Seekers on Amazon Prime, and it's Nick Frost. And he's a cable installer, but by night he goes out and explores paranormal shit. And
Yeah, is that good?
Holy fuck, dude! Yeah, the first episode's amazing.
That's out.
But he did just say that
fucking
he did
jump-
just say that
but
New Mutants is good.
it's way
So
better
it's
than New
just-
Mutants, I can tell you that. But it's like there's fucking jump scares all the way through it. Like it's funny, and then there's like severely creepy shit happening as well in the same scene, and you don't see any of it coming, so you don't know which one you're gonna get. So it puts you on edge the whole way through it. It's like the first episode is great. Watch the first
Amazon
episode
Prime?
and see how you go.
Amazon Prime?
Truth
Nice.
Seekers.
After your New
Cool.
Mutants recommendation, I might.
Yeah, everybody's questioning everything now. We're just. By the way, Dave, we haven't said it yet, but I love your shirt, the Scott Pilgrim shirt.
I love your shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and last but not least, to probably lean into our wrap up here for this episode, thank you so much for listening to our podcast this year. We're going to talk about our most anticipated movies for next year, 2021.
And it's all gonna be
Hopefully,
the same
this year
one.
will not suck balls the way that 2020 sucked in so many terrible, awful,
Get your vaccines.
interesting ways. Hopefully, we'll be able to see some of these movies in the theater. So now we're going to go around the horn, and if anybody has one,
We're
two,
gonna
a couple
go around
movies
the
that they're
horn and
really
say
looking
the same
forward
movie,
to,
probably.
is everybody going to say Dune?
I think everyone's
Oh,
gonna say
not after Ryan said he
not.
saw it.
No, I am.
Ryan saw the old one.
Dude, I hope they salvage that, because I love the book and
Me too. I'm a
The
huge
first
fan
film
of the
was
book series.
not it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm
so let's
looking
do it
forward to the
again.
Batman. I'm looking forward
Is
to
it,
the
is it
Batman.
Mortal Kombat?
Oh, yeah, me
Oh,
too.
it's not, Batman.
I'm looking forward to
Batman.
Batman as well. Yeah.
Okay.
man.
Cool.
After-
Batman's
after-
your one.
After like only completing a quarter of the film and then releasing that trailer,
Yeah.
and that trailer being just stunning from go to woe.
Yeah, those
I'm
three
all
extra
about it.
punches really sold it for me.
I'm vengeance.
Yeah. Your
So the
face is not
Batman,
flat
Jack?
enough.
Jack, what's your
I have-
anticipated movies?
I have two. Top Gun Maverick,
Oh,
probably my most
Oh, yeah.
anticipated movie of the year.
John
That
had a podcast
reorchestrated-
recently and said he saw they showed some of the cast, the cut of it, because it was supposed to come out this year, and he said the flying sequences are just. He was like he was so annoyed that it was taking so long to film, and then he saw the movie and he was like, "Oh my god, that's what they were doing. They spent a full day on that 5 seconds, and it was so worth it." So Top
Got
Gun's
it,
gonna be really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, dude, when
Yeah.
they with Mission Impossible, they did like what 120 Halo jumps.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so,
Wow.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's gonna take his
I
time.
think 330 actually, but yeah,
Yeah.
we got the.
All right,
Yeah.
Jack,
yeah.
we didn't mean to cut you off.
I
sorry.
had that.
No, that's fine. I'm really looking forward to that. And if you saw The Hitman's Bodyguard, I'm looking forward to
Oh, the sequel, yeah.
The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
Oh god.
The same cast:
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson, Ryan Reynolds, and Salma Hayek.
I mean,
I
you
just
can't go
think
wrong
it's
there.
gonna be
You
fun.
can't go wrong there.
How can you? The
Yeah.
first one was so good.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's another spliff in a giant bag of popcorn movie. I'm really
Yeah.
excited for it.
Well,
So
while you're on
excited.
Ryan Reynolds, the Free Guy, I'm really looking
I am
forward to. I was
so waiting for Free
Yeah,
Guy.
I was reading about that today. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
reading
Yeah.
about that.
yeah.
Jeff,
He's
what are
so
you feeling?
good. Yeah.
I mean, part of me wants to be lame and just say the Paul Thomas Anderson movie with Sean Penn
Me
and
too, dude.
Bradley
Yeah,
Cooper,
yeah.
but I mean, who knows? You know what I mean
What's-
with him?
what's it
It's all
called?
like it's untitled.
It's the-
The last
The working
Oh.
title is Soggy Bottom, but it's untitled right now.
Okay.
Soggy
so-
Bottom would be way too close to a Coen Brothers movie, and I don't see Paul
so
do that.
Mexican food film.
He did it last time though with Phantom Thread. That was the working title for Phantom Thread the whole time, and he just left it. So it might be Soggy Bottom. We'll have to see.
But Soggy Bottom is the Soggy Bottom boys from
from
Oh, brother, where
Oh,
art
brother,
thou?
where art thou?
So I don't see
Brother,
that's too with his contemporaries. Even though he likes them all, he's too competitive, right? Like, come on, he wants to
Yeah.
stand out from the pack. That would be like calling his movie like Jackie, something. You know what I mean? Like, no, he won't do it. That one, and then as far as like the big budget releases, maybe Tom and Jerry. No, I'm kidding.
Shit.
Shit, dude.
No, I'll go with Top Gun. Very curious about Top
Top
Gun.
Gun.
Miles Teller.
Maverick.
Let's see if he got it, or let's see if Tom.
Yeah,
Miles
can he
Teller's
be
coming
his
back.
wingman anytime? We need follow up.
Yes.
David, what are you feeling? Dave, I called you Dave.
No, I'm definitely in the Dune camp. Also,
Yeah, hell
Free
yeah.
Guy as well. I'm really looking forward to that because the trailer is fucking awesome.
Yeah, looks fucking awesome. Yeah. I am going to echo Dune for sure. I have been anticipating that for since an interview I read like 2 years ago with Denis Villeneuve. So I've been really, really excited about that one. I'm
It's
super excited.
almost like you're rooting for him. It's like, come on, this is the impossible movie. Do it.
I know, and they pushed off the
How can
release
it be
date.
worse than the one that we're watching now?
That we were talking about that.
Yes,
and
I agree, but
It's
yeah.
gotta be better. Yeah.
It's gotta be.
And I'm hopeful that they pushed off the release date because I read an article that he had this past year in the spring of last year, where he was talking about how he was having a very frustrating editing process because he wasn't in the same building, and that's the first time he had ever
really?
not
Okay.
edited living with his editor basically
Yeah.
for a month. So I think they
But
pushed it off. So I
also,
think he's
what
retouching
a
the post-production.
fucking cast as well.
I know,
Yeah.
I know all the things. It's
Yeah.
going to be amazing.
All
I
the
also want to
things.
shout out. There's a few that, for anyone who still likes watching adult drama, live action movies, Babylon looks really cool. It's Damien Chazelle's next movie. It has Brad Pitt and somebody else in it that looks Margot Robbie. I think looks really good. Judas and the Black Messiah. It's what's his name? It's Daniel. Damn it! What is his name?
Hallelujah.
Yeah, that was in Daniel Kaluuya. He was in, and it's the story of Fred Hampton, the chairman of the Illinois Black Panthers Party, and his fateful betrayal by FBI informant. I don't know. It looks like a good drama.
Oh yeah.
I've been anticipating this one for years. Martin Scorsese has tried to make this movie many times. Killers of the Flower Moon. Members of the Osage tribe in the United States are murdered under mysterious circumstances in the 1920s. And it sparks a major FBI investigation involving J. Edgar Hoover. You got Robert De Niro and Leo in there.
I read a weird article on that last night, actually, where Scorsese was saying that he's struggling to find the spark that he had on The Irishman with that film. So, yeah. Not to put a dampener on that one at all.
Yeah, I'm hoping once they get on location, things will come alive because they're spending a lot of money to shoot on location in that reservation.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping once they're
A
there,
lot of
things
people
will
are having
pick up,
trouble with
'cause he-
locations. I mean, Tom Cruise tirade in Point.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't wait to see the next Mission Impossible, to see it end like Neon Demons did, like without a real ending, just because all the crew quit.
You mean Neo Maniacs?
From Neon Maniacs, that's the one.
Okay, all right.
Jesus
Seriously,
Christ.
Ryan threw to it. Just as a quick wrap up, we're doing a couple of clips here, right?
How are we talking about the sound mix and sound effects?
I almost spat my beer.
Why are we on the minutiae of this? Guys, why do they call them the Neon Maniacs? Let's maybe start there.
Well, apparently they asked him at one point, and he's like, "Well, it means new. It means new maniacs." It's like, well, it doesn't at all.
I did not expect it
When you get to an hour and 15, I'm serious, and I've never said this before on this podcast. Oh wow, what is with the leaving things on here? Like seriously, you get to an hour and 15 in this podcast, just turn it off.
We get drunk at the
That's
end
my
of our
review of this podcast.
I don't know if anyone knows that, but we get pretty wasted.
Wait, shout out to one of our other podcasts though. Godzilla vs Kong comes out May 21st.
Oh,
2021.
yeah.
The remake of a movie that we forced ourselves to watch with English
Super
dubbing.
excited about that. Super excited about No Time to Die. We were talking about James Bond earlier. I'm
yeah,
gonna
man.
see that movie. I can't fucking wait for that. It's gonna
Phoebe
be awesome.
Waller-Bridge script. Shout out.
Let's go. Make her the next Bond.
This was fucking
You would
fun.
shag
This was fun.
everybody.
This
I'm
was
telling you,
absolutely
it
fun.
Yeah.
All right, friends.
Freeform.
So
Thank you
much.
for joining us.
Thank you for the invite.
Jack,
It was very
Ryan,
nice.
thank you.
Always.
2020, thank you for listening. This was crazy. What a fun year. We're going to keep doing it. We're going to take a week off, though, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
right,
we're taking
fellas?
taking a
Yeah.
week off. We're
Just
going to
sober up.
We're going to come back and price some boards off some cinemas and see what happens.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, motherfuckers. Yeah, thank you for listening.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
Peace.
everybody.
Today drinking.